All right, everybody, welcome to this new edition of the Below the O Line podcast. We're joined today by our special guest, Chairgate, one of the best podcasts for NASCAR out there. We got a great episode coming for you guys. We got Gateway, we got some Formula One, some IndyCar, and some NASCAR, all road course racing except for Gateway.
Right.
All right, so let's get started.
A big weekend in racing has just been in the books for many reasons, including the 24 hours of Nürburgring and the upcoming 6 hours of Watkins Glen, all the way back into the other country that had a 24-hour race, Le Mans. Well, France, I mean. France
Right.
had the French Grand Prix at the Circuit de Paul Ricard for Formula One Round 8 of 21 races this year. Lewis Hamilton remained dominant. On the side of the United States, we had Gateway Motorsport. Wait, new name, Worldwide Technology at Gateway. If I said that
We're
right,
not getting paid by them, so we'll just call it Gateway.
let's hope they will.
Right.
Gateway had their race, and Ross Chastain won it for real this time. And in wine country in Sonoma, California, we had the Toyota Save Mart 350. For the first time since 1997, the original layout has been used. So, without further ado, let's get started. Daniel Ford, congratulations on finishing your semester. You finally get to come on with us tonight.
Thank you so very much, Joseph. I really appreciate it. Now I get to finally have more time to spend more
Yo, I can't hear.
time with the viewers
Hold on.
and everything else.
Hold on.
And-
hold on. Matt can't hear. Can you hear us now?
I can hear you, but that's it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a problem, right?
Right, bro.
No?
Yeah.
bro.
All right. So as I was saying, I just wanted to say thank you to everybody who was
Yeah,
with
that's
the
weird. I don't
support.
know why I wouldn't be able to hear everybody. Let me make sure. No, doesn't say they're muted. So
Well, I'm not muted, so
I
we're
hear
good.
you, Dan.
You
Yeah,
can
I
hear
can
me,
hear. I
Matt?
can hear all you clearly.
you can hear. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's so weird. I can only hear you. That's
Oh,
not
wow.
good.
Yeah.
That's an
You do
issue.
apologize for technical difficulties.
You want me
Yeah,
to try to
really
leave and come back?
Give it
Yeah.
if you want to give it a shot,
Okay.
go ahead.
Why don't you send me like a different invite?
Yeah, that's what I'll do.
Okay.
Yeah. All
Great
right.
job, Google. You made
As
us
I
proud
was
again.
saying, as I was saying, guys, now I finally have more time to do more episodes of Full Throttle coming up every Friday at 7:30. So that's the new time for my for the new show Full Throttle. Of course, with the regular guys I have on the show.
You good?
Armani and Joseph, and maybe Justin, if you could get him in there. But stay tuned for that coming this Friday at 7:30.
All right.
Before we begin with the race weekend, Chairgate, introduce yourself.
Yo, what up? I'm Rattlesnake, host of Chair Gaten, the NASCAR podcast for Belly Up Sports. Everybody follow me at Chair Gaten for pretty much everything, and go over to bellyupsports.com. Check out all of our content over there. Yep.
Great group of guys over there.
Yeah, we're working hard.
All right, let's get on to the race weekend. So, I don't know what you guys want to start off with.
There's so much to start with. I took a lot of notes today.
Yeah, you
Scribble
Let's-
scrabble.
Let's start. Let's start off with Sonoma. Why not? All right. So, what'd you guys think of Sonoma?
Are we talking Cup?
Yes.
Yeah, Cup. Well,
Okay, I was gonna say there was a couple races there.
Yeah, I forgot that the K&N, the K&N,
the K&N series.
yeah, I know the K&N series race, like it was good, and then like the last two laps lasted for
Right.
eternity.
I was gonna say there's more to talk about with the K&N at Sonoma. than
Yes,
the
there
Cup
was.
Series.
A lot of controversy in that
Yeah.
event.
Yeah,
But
that was crazy.
if I guess if you guys want to get started,
Screw it. Let's talk about K&N. We're already talking.
all right, sure. And
Didn't
K&N
mean to get
on the
us off
headlines
course.
too. So
Right.
this is more than your traditional West Series race for you non-traditional viewers of the K&N series. I suggest
Right.
you go ahead and watch more of those races.
Oh yeah.
So I think I took notes somewhere. Yeah, about this event. Yeah. So the K&N series was pretty controversial at Sonoma. I
Yeah.
think I said that like 3,000 times by now. But
Yeah.
I know Deegan was on the pole, and that was a big deal.
Yeah.
Did
Yep.
she
Haley
get all
Haley
up,
Deegan
like-
had a poll of I think a 141. Was it a 141.5?
That's really
Did they
good.
use? I didn't see the race, but did they use the carousel or did they
Yes,
use the?
they
open?
Yes,
they
they
used the
did.
carousel.
Okay. I didn't know if they did that or not. I know. Then she fell back to was she in like the back half of the top 10? I think.
Well,
She
she like
finished-
13th or something like that.
She finished 10th.
10th. Okay, cool.
Wow.
I could pull it up if you guys want.
Yeah. I mean, my takes on it was, it was pretty much Hemrick and Ryan Preece battling, which is kind of cool because they're the Cup Series rookies. So they're battling for the, Rookie of the Year in the Cup Series. So they're battling for 1 and 2 in this K&N race. And then we got like Haley Deegan battling in the back. It was pretty exciting up until the controversial finish. I was enjoying the race a lot until it took like an hour to get through the last 2 laps.
Yeah, that's what I
Oh
heard. It's
my
like,
god.
I saw like replays. I saw like I didn't watch the race, but I saw like replays. I saw like I'll basically keep track on Twitter, and then
Right.
everyone was like, "This race is taking forever." Okay, now this race is turning into a shit show. I was like, "Are we at Daytona?"
Yeah, it was like this. It was like a good race, and then it just yeah.
That's when we all remembered what level these drivers are on.
Yeah.
Yeah, based on what I heard from like Twitter and all that stuff, it sounded like the Daytona 500 this year. It was such a great race, but then we got like the final 10 to 15 laps, and then it just wreck after wreck after wreck, and it's like, okay, can we just finish?
Yeah.
And Armani is still traumatized about what happened.
We don't
with his
talk.
son.
We don't talk about that. We don't talk about that. If anyone who wants to know, Michael McDowell was still dead to me.
Yeah.
No, but I think what Joseph said like sums it up perfectly. It reminds you of what level that they're at. They're not Cup Series drivers yet. We talk about these drivers because they're only competing against each other, and it's a lot of fun to watch. But when they can't finish the last 2 laps because they're racing so hard and they're wrecking every single turn, you're like, okay, they're not Cup Series level drivers yet.
Not at all.
Yeah.
And about what you said, it's funny because I look inside the top 10 here and I see a name, Jim Englebright. This guy is going to be 58 years old, and he's known by many for having those colorful Jelly Belly cars in the 2000s, and even somehow snuck his way into RCR in the Sonoma race in 2004, and they're driving the AOL car.
Oh,
Really
wow.
now?
Johnny Sauter.
Oh.
Yeah, fun fact. And I honestly think, like, it shows. I guess you have to know the track before you can be some sort of hotshot young competitor out there making a
Right.
name for yourself.
Oh yeah, I mean Sonoma is like it's one of those tracks where it's like you could tell who has the experience, who has the talent versus who doesn't.
And you're right. Talent versus experience. It's a long-lasting question. Who has the talent? Who has the experience? And who is up and coming? Usually the up and coming drivers have the upper end on the shorter tracks, but maybe on a road course, like I'll give the guy some credit. We haven't seen much of Jim Englebright and even Dale Corley for good measure. The guy started 9th. Dale Corley is known by many for someone who just usually starts in the back of in the Nationwide Series race. He last ran one in 2008. Has almost the same amount of DNQs as races completed in that series, but yet he started 9th. So I'll give him credit.
Yeah, and I think you made a good point too about you're saying these younger drivers that have talent, we might see them do better on short tracks. I think that's a really good way to put it because we see Haley Deegan, for instance, on a
Right.
short track, right? And she's really aggressive, which is fun to watch, no doubt. But you can't be as aggressive in Sonoma because you might get off the track as well, right?
Exactly.
And so it really shows the experience level of these drivers.
Because when it comes to when it comes to road courses, it's all about balance. Where to be aggressive and where to be easy.
Hmm.
Here's the way.
And
Go on.
on short tracks, you could be as aggressive as you want, and that's where it comes down to.
Here's what I see. It's like the road courses is like there's like 3 different categories. There's like the mile plus. There's the mile longer tracks, which require a lot of having a good car, clean air, all that stuff. Then there's the short tracks, which favors more talent, and then there's the road courses, which favor more experience.
Right.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Intermediate or not even intermediate. We used to do at least at the Cup Series level when they would be running on super speedways. It took like not really any talent, or much experience. It was more just luck. I think it's changing a little bit now, but yeah, I think that's a good way to explain it.
You're right, Matt. But also the intermediate tracks, you need the good equipment. You need the clean air. The aerodynamics are essential to where you start and, of course, where you finish.
So let's talk about the finish to the K&N race. What was it? Ryan Preece, he jumped the start. That's what I heard.
Yeah. Did he though? Did he?
From the angle that I saw, like the
Good.
way I see it is like, look, if the flagman drops a green flag, just go.
You're right.
If
Right.
if he starts accelerating before the green flag is dropped, yeah, he jumped the start. If the green flag is out, just go. That's the way I think it should be.
I don't get this rule that you can't beat the control car to the start line on a restart. I really don't get it.
And here's another thing. I didn't really see many of the replays. I kind of wanted to avoid looking at it and getting overwhelmed with it.
Right.
But what you want to interpret is, like I said last week in the podcast, the title says it all. Cheating in motorsports. You know what else is? Instant replay.
What?
We're in an era of instant replay taking over everything. Everybody wants exact precision and exact calls. I think we all know what happened in the NFC Championship game. Yeah, with the Saints and the LA Rams.
And the Rams, yeah.
Yeah, and that no call.
Right.
Everybody's still mad about it to this day. And I know it's not racing related, but I think that's the trigger of the era of instant replay we've been getting. You can look at the Kentucky Derby. I always use the analogy of the Kentucky Derby and how maximum security got taken from the win.
And Country House gets the win.
Exactly.
Unfortunately.
Well, I mean, I watched it, and at first I was just like, "Oh wow, we got a yellow, black, checkered, right, all 3 together." I was like, "This is insane," which is really unfortunate. I just wanted to see like a good finish, and they could not give me a finish. And I've rewatched it, and it doesn't look like Preece really jumped. I think it should have been fine. They should have let it go. But I agree also, like, who cares? It's a replay. I'm not going to go back and be like, they should have always let him,
Here's what
bygones
I'm gonna say.
be bygones, I guess.
Here's what I'm going to say.
Yeah.
And I apologize for interrupting, but I must make a point here about this. We see it all the time. And especially, maybe it's a trend, but the control car to restart, and a double file restart is a car that's listed in first place.
Right.
There's no regard to the car being next to you. It's like everyone's evened out, right? 2 by 2 by 2. But this guy's in first place. So this guy, driver A, has to say so. Driver B has to stay behind until he crosses the line. And driver A did what any driver A would do. So I think honestly Preece does have a right to be upset about this. I would be too. It's a frustrating way to lose a race. And Noah Gragson, hopefully he feels the same way about that being a gifted win.
I'm sure he'll take the win.
Yeah.
He ain't gonna care. He's like, hey, I got the trophy.
Yeah, and
might as well just go with it, right?
And on top of that, at least it was a K&N race. Let's be real. Ryan Preece is a Cup Series driver. It was just for fun for like him and Hemrick and Austin Dillon. They're just out there having fun, it seems like. So at least it was a K&N race and not like a Cup Series race
Yeah,
with
exactly.
guys trying to point their way into the playoffs. That would have
If
been
it was a Cup
huge.
Series race, it would have been a so
Would
much of a
you-
different story.
Would you consider that whole K&N like restart controversy similar to what happened at Michigan? Because remember, at the last restart of Michigan, like I think Kurt and Truex were saying that Logano jumped the restart.
Mhm.
I don't even follow it because it's
That
like
would-
I wouldn't even say that, to be honest with you.
Because I remember that there was like a little controversy where like Kurt and Truex were complaining like, "Oh, Logano jumped the restart." Where it's like,
I remember that as well. I haven't looked into it much though, but I
Yeah,
do
I
remember
haven't
them
looked-
talking about that.
yeah,
I
I think
haven't looked into it either.
the
but-
most I saw is like NASCAR on Fox, like Larry Mack and like Shannon. It's like they were like doing like a little segment, like, "Oh, this and that, this and that."
They're just on it, He's like, what can you do?
Exactly. And
Yeah.
to can't speak. Trying to.
Yeah, it's all good. Take
Vocabulary likes to get a hold of me sometimes.
Your time, man. Take your time, man.
Okay, so I want to go back and discuss the restart where the guy's name was Lawless Allen, who was apparently driving the car that Haley Deegan turned into heading into the carousel.
That's
and
right.
many people were pretty upset about that. What's your take on the incident?
With the Haley turning him.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? I've tried to rewatch this like replay so many times, and I don't know if y'all got a better angle than I did, but all I see is them like in a pack and his car just come out. So I never really saw a good angle. I'm not saying she didn't hit him and turn him, but it's hard for me to have a real take on it if I can't fully see her turn him.
Yeah, like I didn't get the best angle either. Like I was looking, I was like, okay, let me try to find another one. No, that was like really the only decent angle that was there. It's like you can't really tell.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And I mean, Haley Deegan's she's been an aggressive driver. Like, is anybody really surprised that she does that every race to somebody?
And she made
Yeah.
it clear. She made it really clear that
That the nice
she's
girl,
not afraid to do this
She-
stuff.
she's not afraid to do anything. If you know that old saying, "Do unto others."
Mm-hmm.
That's what she's that's the mindset that she has. If you're gonna do something to me, I'm gonna do something to you.
Yeah, Haley Deegan, like she's an aggressive driver, but it's like you could tell that it's not really polished. It's not like Brad Keselowski aggressive or whatever. Like they're aggressive, but they keep it clean. That makes sense. No, Haley Deegan is like, okay,
Yeah, it's more. I mean, it's a weird comparison, but I've seen it a few times. She's more of like the Dale Earnhardt, right? Where it's just open to the public. Like if you run into me, I'm gonna hit you harder. So it's a weird comparison to say Haley Deegan has a similar style to Dale Earnhardt, but that's the only thing I can think of.
yeah, I know.
Yeah,
She's
I
just
think
publicly
everyone-
about it.
I think everyone can say that at this point.
Yeah, Haley Deegan is like me when I'm at K1 speed. If you're gonna put me in the wall, I'm gonna use my brakes.
Mhm.
And what are you talking about? Go-karting? Really?
Dude, it's the
Dale
same thing
Earnhart's
with me.
just like me when I drive my car. When I'm driving down the highway, I'm Dale Earnhardt resurrected. I'm like, come on.
All right, hey,
All right. So, welcome in, Justin. How's it going?
I'm good.
Justin, Haley Deegan's the next Dale Earnhardt. We confirmed it here.
Yeah, I'm afraid.
Well,
You know,
she has to stop wrecking people. Can she win without wrecking someone for once?
I think she
I want-
can.
I don't
Well,
know.
oh my god! Again, I can't hear him now. I don't know what's going on with mine.
Just leave and come back again. Trust me.
Yeah, every
Yeah,
time
just
somebody
try to
comes
leave
in.
and come back
All right,
again.
I'm leaving and coming back one more time. All right,
all right,
Okay.
it's gonna work. All right,
It's
eventually.
definitely gonna work. Yeah.
we're gonna get it.
You know what we need to do, Joseph? We need to put in the NASCAR ship posting chat. We need to put I miss Dale and then just put Haley Deegan. Put Haley Deegan with some sunglasses, a mustache.
Oh my god,
Oh, you are priceless, man. You are priceless.
that
I'll
is
tell you.
priceless.
You know, there's some people out in this world who just make some really great damn jokes.
Is there a meme lord in the NASCAR YouTube community?
Raw
As long as-
Gator.
Raw Gator does videos like that.
Yeah, where someone
Raw
crosses
Gator
the
is
line
the
and
only
puts them
person
forward.
that does memes, but there's this meme that I
All right,
have
I
on
think
my
I can hear
channel.
everybody. Everybody say something.
What's
Do
up?
it for Dale.
Do it for Dale.
Oh my.
All right.
Anybody?
Can
y'all hear me?
I can hear you.
Yeah.
I can hear you.
You were referring to the memes.
I can't hear anybody else. Now it's just you again.
Hello.
Oh, I can hear you.
Good.
Oh,
Can you
that's
hear
two.
me? Can you hear me?
Can you
good?
hear? Can you hear Danny? Can you hear Justin?
No.
Leave come back again.
Oh,
Oh
my
my
god.
God.
What is going on? Why
What
is
is
this?
going on?
This has never happened.
Difficulties
Before.
are really the worst, aren't they?
This has
I
never
don't
happened
know.
before.
Oh my.
Let's see if I mute them and then unmute them. Maybe
This
then that'll.
channel is cursed.
Unbelievable.
No. All right. Leaving and coming back again.
All right. As I was referring to the memes, Armani, that there's this meme that I have on my YouTube channel with the 2016 championship. I think you've seen it, right?
What is it again?
Fuck this shit, I'm out. Fuck this shit, I'm out. No thanks.
I've seen it.
Yes, dude.
Oh.
Carl Edwards.
Okay, wait. Say something, everybody.
Hi.
Hi.
Do it for Dale.
Are we good?
I can't hear anybody now.
Unbelievable.
Oh,
What is
Unbelievable. What
What is going on?
Come on,
What
everybody.
is going on, man?
What if
Oh,
I
this
come
is
back?
really
Give
frustrating.
me 1 second.
Oh my God. I swear, every time we do one of these podcasts, there's always like some kind of issue.
All right. Do you hear me now? Do you hear me now?
Do you hear Joseph?
I don't know what's going on. God.
Oh boy.
Does Google do this every time?
This thing is cursed for
I have
some reason. I don't know why.
Literally 3 accounts.
I'm literally about just like contact Google, be like, hey, listen, every time we do a podcast, there's always some kind of issue, one way, shape, or form.
Is it maybe it's because the joke we made about the
No.
reading the-
Nah, there's no way it could be that.
Is
Oh, well.
Vladimir Putin
Oh,
controlling this podcast?
Oh.
The Russian bots are taking over.
Oh god.
Are we good?
Okay, I can hear
Are we good?
you.
Well, bueno.
I don't know. I might just have to try it on my phone or something.
Hey, you know what? I will just use me as a translator. Like, if they say something, we'll let you know. Dale has,
Good.
Dale
That would
has
be good.
cursed this chat.
Oh my
That's what's-
gosh.
Wait, who's
I was on a
cursed this
roll.
chat?
I might just try it on my phone. I wonder if it's my computer.
Wait, I hear you.
All right.
Yeah,
One
Yo,
last time. I'm going to try it on my phone.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
At least this is a podcast and
All
not a TV show. Wait.
Yeah. If it was a
TV
TV show, then that would be me. So
As long as it's not a tabloid talk show,
oh no. Hell
like
no,
you know,
dude.
Maury Povich.
Okay. When we get this whole situation fixed, let's move on to the actual cup race. Now that we're done talking about K and Net.
All right.
All right, we good?
Yeah. Okay. Everybody say something. Let's try it.
Hello.
Damn.
Hello.
Do it
No.
for Dale.
I think that's everybody.
Yeah.
Good.
Yes!
Good.
Joe here.
Way better.
Now
Way
I just have to
better.
hold
20
my
years
phone
of
here.
trying, 20 years of frustration.
Oh my god.
This is
Oh.
not how I wanted this to go on my phone the whole time.
Oh my god. All right, let's talk about the Cup Sonoma race while we still have everything under control.
Yeah, for the time that we have it, right?
Exactly. All right, so what do you guys think of the Sonoma Cup race?
There was not much. Sometimes there's like
I honestly that was a great battle between Truex and Busch during like the last closing laps. That was somewhat entertaining, I guess you could say.
Here's my take on it. It was a great drive by Kyle Busch, cut from like 8 seconds back to basically like in the second.
yeah.
But the battle was like, you had that anticipation, but at the same time, kind of knew in your back of your head, probably nothing's going to happen.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, unfortunately, that's kind of how it ended up, right? We've seen that a couple times this year. I was like, okay, maybe Kyle Busch is going to do something here and really like mix it up, make it really exciting at the very end, but it just never happened. Not to mention, I thought about this during the race. I was like, oh, this could be a really exciting finish. Kyle Busch, Martin Truex Jr. But then I thought about it and I was like, wait, they're teammates. And they both are leading with wins this season. Is it really that exciting? Like at this point, like who cares?
Right.
Which one of them wins? I don't care anymore.
You know what? It was interesting. I feel like the battle between teammates was authentic and classic. It was something like Jeff Gordon and Jimmy Johnson, to be honest. The two best drivers in the best team going at it at one of the more technical tracks, even though Jimmy Johnson and Jeff Gordon never really had a battle like this at Sonoma, as far as I can remember. But
the last time I've seen a great battle between Gordon and Johnson was Martinsville in 07.
Yeah.
How about Atlanta 2011?
Oh, that was.
Oh, man.
That was an instant classic.
Yeah, like I heard Kyle Busch did light up the rear tires. He did. His tires started getting bad. He started pushing it way too hard, and his rear tires kept burning up really badly.
Or was it a wheel hop?
Well, when you go,
Rear
sorry.
tire.
Well, when you go from 8 seconds to nearly in a second, you know that Kyle Busch is basically just driving his heart out. And like you heard, and Truex, like he was conserving. I don't think Truex put a wheel wrong in the race. Like if you listen to like his in-car camera and stuff, like, and you know when he's doing the gear shift, you don't really hear a wheel hop or anything. It's just so smooth.
Yeah, that's true.
I think his road coursing skills is like this is really good.
He really is, I guess, the modern road course ringer, I guess, nowadays.
Yes.
But to be honest, Martin Truex Jr. with 3 wins at 3 different teams at Sonoma.
But it's weird that's all with Toyota. He's never won.
They're all with Toyota, indeed.
But
it does show, like, we saw 3 different Martin Truex Jr.'s in those 3 different wins.
Yeah.
We saw an MTJ 7 Sonomas ago in 2013.
Yeah.
As somebody who could just, for the sake of anything, not be able to win.
Yeah.
And finds victory lane and persevered. He like broke the glass barrier, or I'm trying not to say glass ceiling because this ain't about politics. This is about racing.
Oh yeah, baby.
Wait, is that used in politics now? Glass ceiling?
No, glass ceiling. You know the term glass
I'm
ceiling?
out of the loop, I guess.
But the glass ceiling was definitely in Martin Truex Jr.'s way around that time when he drove for Michael Waltrip. He had a lot of close calls in 2012, as far as I'm concerned, especially that one Atlanta race in Labor Day weekend. And like, is this guy going to win or not? And I'm watching the Sonoma race from the hockey rink, I remember, and like, just it's like
Nice Arena.
Nope, it was in Pompano. But moving on, I was like, well, okay, the caution's going to come out. Like, we all know it's going to happen. There's 2 to go. How is this like? And then the last lap. And then I think fuel's in the question as well. I'm like, oh my gosh, he's actually going to win. And like, I looked at my friend who also likes NASCAR, and him like, no freaking way, buddy. He actually did it.
Interesting little fact. I posted this on the Weekend Hangover and on Twitter. Ever since 2016, Truex has always like increased like his wins during the Fox portion of the season by 1. 2016, during the Fox portion of the season, he had 1 win. 2017, he had 2. 2018, he had 3, and now 2019, he had 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, the guy's on a roll.
I just found that interesting. It's like it's one of those weird stats, but when you think about it, it's like, well then.
It's more of like a snowball effect. You could put it like that.
So that means he's going to win 5 races before we hit NBC next year.
Well, you never know. It's still in the future. We don't know yet.
I could predict the future. I mean, I know this ain't that so Raven. I mean, we're not going to go. Even though she does have a racing reference account. Fun fact, Raymond.
What?
She does.
Oh, God.
Toyota Pro Celebrity Race from 2009, if I'm not mistaken. We'll get into that later. But, oh yeah, Kevin Jonas has one too. Brody Jenner, Adam Crow. Okay, back on topic. We can't see the future, But
That's true. Like,
what we can do is predict the possibility of it happening again.
So if I'm doing my math right, 2019 in 2020, what in the 20 like late 2020s, Truex gonna have 10 wins by the end of the Fox Sports of the season.
He might just retire then, but I'm
well,
not a fortune teller.
he's
Nah, I
38.
doubt it. But
He's 38. He started in 05. He's 38 years old.
So what do you guys think about? Let's talk about Matt DiBenedetto, first career top 5 finish.
Yeah.
oh man,
First- yeah.
Congrats to Matt DiBenedetto, man. That was some good stuff.
he had a good.
Whoever thought it would be in him to finish in the top 5?
First of all, let me make this clear about his record.
Right,
This is his second, I think, finish higher than 6th place.
right.
And
so
you
the
know
first
he
career
finished
top 5.
second higher than 6th place. And you know where he drove that 6th place car, right? Bristol Motor Speedway for BK Racing. Probably one of the more
Yeah.
backmark teams you could ever
I remember
ask
that.
for at Bristol. And it was one of the biggest upsets. That's actually what got Matt DiBenedetto that famous. And going on from that, we got to see him lead 49 laps in the Daytona 500 this year, which was in the end the most laps led of the race.
Right. That was a dominant performance.
But going on though, Levine Family Racing gets their third best the third time. Let me just say this again. For the third time in team history, Levine Family Racing gets their best career finish.
And
They
they got
finished 4th 2 other times.
Daytona McDowell in 2017, and the Casey.
Casey Kane last year.
Yeah, and it was a night race at Daytona too. I just realized it was the night race at Daytona.
Matt, what do you think about Matt DiBenedetto's finish?
Not much, honestly. I mean, I don't know what to say. It's impressive, especially at Sonoma. So, I mean, good for him. We'll see what happens. I don't think anything's gonna come of it.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
I mean, I'm just gonna be real. I think it's just maybe. I've seen really bad drivers have really good finishes, and I'm not saying he's a bad driver at all. I just don't think this means anything or anything's really gonna come of it. Maybe if he's in better equipment, I'd like to see his skills then. But I think more interesting is Ross Chastain in trucks.
Yeah,
We'll get into that in a moment.
like,
But I do want to say, Levine Family Racing going to Toyota does not make them an ultimate wizard on the track. And many people are like, oh, look what happened to Fernando Truex. I also did the stats on Fernando Truex Racing with Martin Truex Jr. in 2015, their last season with Chevy.
yeah.
They had, 23 top 10s?
Well,
Was it?
better than 2014?
Oh, of course. But like they were leading laps and legitimate threats every single year. Even though they won once and made the Final Four in the chase,
Yeah.
they were legit contenders.
Like 2014 was the opposite. 2014 was not good for the 78 crew. They,
Also, let's remember that they had Martin Truex Jr. Right? I mean, that makes a huge difference. That dude is a championship caliber. He won a championship.
Yeah.
So I think that makes a big difference. It depends on your driver. If your driver is the caliber to win you a championship, it doesn't really matter what manufacturer.
Not at all.
Put some money into them.
Yeah, I honestly, in all honesty, to be like Matt DiBenedetto, like the Levine Family race that 95, they disappointed this year, judging based off their standards. They said that, with this alliance, we'll be running like 15th to 20th. They're running like 20th to 25th. They're running barely any better than they did last year with Casey Kane.
like,
Here's what I'll say. They have improved. They have a better driver. Nothing against Casey Kane or Regan Smith from last year, but we all knew Casey Kane was dwindling down. He just went from pretty much the best team in NASCAR to the best slow teams in NASCAR.
well, like,
I just want to say we do have a question from a viewer, Soul Vibes. That's actually one of my friends, Danny. But she was asking, can we talk about the race in France by any chance? Sure. That's good with you guys.
also about,
Dude, we'll get to that in a minute.
Yeah, let's wrap
Right.
up our Sonoma talks.
Right.
also, I just figured out why Like towards the end of the race, Bowman was falling back from like 7th. I figured out why. Power steering.
Yeah,
like,
power steering.
I don't
Power
know
steering
how.
issues.
My question:
Dude.
how do you lose power steering at Sonoma? I've
It
heard
can happen
That-
anywhere.
That's what
How-
happened to Blaney, and
That's
after that race, he was in pain.
I
When
don't usually
I don't think you guys understand. When you lose power steering on a road course, you're in deep trouble right there.
like the car's tighter. Like the
Oh
car,
yeah, way more tighter.
like I seen Dale Earnhardt 1980 in one of the Martinsville races he won without power steering for like 150 laps.
Here's what I'll say,
Like,
and this is an interesting question. It's also another question about, the years and how the sport has evolved. But power steering, okay, these cars are not made to be driven without power steering.
yeah,
If you, of course, look at some of the cars from the days of, Lee Petty and Herb Thomas, Marshall Teague,
Yeah.
those guys, they were driving pretty much strictly stock cars.
yeah,
It's a given. And power steering is, I'll give you an instance. It's pretty funny because I somehow remember this, but I think it was the 2007 Busch Series race from Texas, the first race when Matt Kenseth, he actually spun in the race with a cut tire earlier, lost his power steering, if I'm not mistaken, and ended up winning the race.
yeah.
And I think it was just one of those underdog performances. But like these cars, like I said, they're not made to be
Yeah.
driven without power steering.
Yeah, that's true. Like,
Yeah, that's a big thing too. That people are like, oh well, they used to not have power steering back in the day. Like you should be able to do it, and it's like no, they were just made completely different. So
And it's funny because the back of my day excuse doesn't apply to everything.
right,
My biggest heartbreak, honestly, from Sonoma was watching Jimmy Johnson in the top 5. I was like, Jimmy's in the top 5. He's gonna get a top 5
I
finish.
was like that at the same time.
And then he just kept dropping. I'm
dropping
like,
back. and,
okay,
like,
he's in 6th,
unbelievable.
but like 6th or 7th, that's not bad. And he kept dropping and
isn't
dropping.
he? Isn't he
And
still
now
outside
we're
the
out
playoff?
of the playoffs.
Yeah,
Wait,
he's
say
out
that
of the playoffs in
Freaking
points,
do.
right?
He's
Well-
1 point behind Ryan Newman. If you would have told me like just 2 years ago that Ryan Newman would be ahead of Jimmy Johnson in the playoffs, any point, I think that you were drunk.
Let me ask you a question. Who won the 2002 Rookie of the Year?
Ryan Newman.
Exactly.
Yeah.
True, Ryan Newman. What? Then 2003, Ryan Newman was impressive in 2000.
2003 was
Woo.
Ryan Newman. Yeah, he was very impressive.
8
But
wins.
I mean, maybe it's just because he's been at RCR in the 31 and was always underperforming there for the past 4 years?
2014, 15, 16, yeah, 4 years. No, 5
How
years.
did it say 2014 if he finished second in the championship?
Well,
It's the chase.
the chase. Yeah.
Ah,
It's the final
voila.
4.
Gordon would have won the title.
It's magic.
Chase, it would have been Jeff Gordon. Not Harvick would have not won. Gordon would have got it. Then 2015 would have been Harvick.
I don't like saying oh, the chase was this, like, oh, it would have been different with the chase, like just like luck and stuff, because it's like at the end of the day you played by the rules and you did the best with the rules at the end of the day, so that counts for something. But at the same time, it's like there was clearly people behind him in points that clearly did better than him overall in the season.
Like it's just the chase has ruined some, like 2018 trucks would have been Sauter. Even 26, like when Sauter won the truck title in 2016, people thought, oh, Byron would have won without the chase. No, Sauter would still won without the chase or with the chase.
I think he would have won by like 12 points or something.
Yeah, Sauter would have won it either way. Bell would have won it either way in 2017, but 2018 trucks would have been Sauter if there was no chase. It would have been Johnny Sauter in the 21 truck.
Right.
Okay, I do want to get to Danny's question. She did want to talk about the race in France. So if you
All right,
guys
so-
think we're all ready to hop
So,
on over.
yeah, we'll talk about France and we'll talk about Gateway after that.
All right,
Well,
let's
right.
talk about Gateway.
there's not much to talk about in France, so
Yeah, that's true.
All right, I did a lot of notes taking about the French Grand Prix.
well, you actually managed to get a lot of notes. You probably got like less than one
Only
page.
I could read them.
Well, the French Grand Prix was.
Long story short, Lewis Hamilton led all the laps.
There's a storyline to this race.
Well, for me, it was not bad because I do like Mercedes.
But let's get into this. So This is round 8 of 21 here in the F1 2019 World Championship. Second appearance at Circuit de Paul Rashad since 1990. Alain Prost has the most wins of all time, 4. And his last 3 were consecutive wins. Let's see. Lewis Hamilton joins Nigel Mansell and Alain Prost, being the 3rd driver to win 2 consecutive French Grand Prix at the circuit. And Lewis Hamilton extends the perfect season for Mercedes in 2019. What are your guys' takes on that?
Like,
I
I honestly think that Lewis Hamilton, with the momentum of winning the championship last year, that is giving them the momentum to do it again all over this year, with no one challenging him for that championship.
well, you never know if Hamilton out 2 races and Bottas wins 2 of them. So yeah.
Yeah, you know, you're right. You're right, Justin.
Yeah.
But what are the odds? When we're talking about one of the best drivers of all time, this guy got his 79th career win in his world championship career.
I remember Austria. I don't know what year there was. I think it was last year, 2017. He blew up.
2018, he and Bottas blew up. It was the second Mercedes double DNF, I think, in like 2 years, 2 or 3 years.
What could happen?
And Verstappen took the win.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like stuff happens on the racetrack. Like you never know. We could have like mechanical issues, like we've seen last year, Ricardo, many mechanical issues. Like we could see some mechanical issue.
Here's the thing with Formula One.
Right.
Like when the drivers dominate, like, it's like, you can respect their talent, but so few do it. It's like when only 3 teams are capable of winning, and it's not like, let's say, RCR and maybe Stewart Haas, where RCR at least has some type of chance. No. Like at least maybe until 2021, you're never going to see a Renault win. You're never going to see a McLaren win. You're never going to see a Haas win, because
or a Williams.
Williams, it's just there are so many zip codes behind.
Right.
All right, so here's what the World Championship standings look like as of 8 races. Lewis Hamilton now has 187 points in the lead. He has 6 wins and 8 podiums. So he's never missed 1 podium this year.
Yeah.
For Lewis Hamilton, while Valtteri Bottas gets 2 wins, 7 podiums, and 151 points.
Yeah.
So now Lewis is starting to pull away. It's 38 now.
Yeah.
And Sebastian Vettel, no wins. Now this is where I started to see the fall here. Vettel
It's sad.
had no wins and 4 podiums and 111 points.
But I've realized, I was looking at the
And he sits in 3rd, right?
Yeah,
He's third.
I was looking at it.
That's becoming a very big problem now. It really is.
Leclerc has more podiums than Vettel.
No, he doesn't. This is
they don't.
No,
These
are Leclerc's podiums. Bahrain, Canada, and France.
But it said he had 5.
Okay, Bahrain, Canada, and France. I'll tell you, each of those races had their own different reasons on why they did not get a podium. First of all, France, I mean, I'll be honest. 5th place. What kind of run is that?
Oh, I know. Remember he pitted at the end to get a fast lap to get
Yeah, he did that to get his fastest lap point, which he accomplished.
Yeah, because if he would not pit, Hamilton would have got the fast lap.
Exactly.
That's one reason.
Here's my take on the fastest lap thing. It depends on where you are on the track. If you're like in like the bottom half of the top 10, then yeah, okay, like you maybe. But if you're like towards like that 2nd or 3rd, is it really worth sacrificing? Like, let's say you're going from 18th, like 2nd gets 18 points, 3rd place gets 15 points, and I believe 4th gets 12. So let's say you're 3rd, but you want the fastest lap, but you're going to drop down to 4th or 5th in the running order. Is that 1 point? Like that 1 point isn't really worth sacrificing 4 extra.
Yeah.
Here's another question. What happens if you make a mistake in an F1 race and end up crashing? How many points do you score?
0.
0.
Yeah.
That's true.
0 points.
Matt, what's your take on this? Or if you
I'm gonna be honest. I do not keep up with F1. So when y'all started talking F1, I was like, well, I guess I'll check out until we start talking stock cars again. So,
We will in a minute.
Like,
Yeah. Sorry. I'm just
No,
not an
It's
F1
okay.
guy.
It's okay.
Yeah.
I know F1's worldwide, but that doesn't mean the whole world has to watch.
Yeah, no. It's like
I'm
soccer. It's worldwide, but I don't watch it.
Oh, I have a
Listen, I'm
story
not a-
on soccer. I have a story on soccer, by the way. I'll save that for later.
Listen, speaking of soccer, I have been following the U.S. Team USA in the Women's World Cup this year. They beat Spain 2-1
well,
and make it through the round of 16. So congrats to them.
well,
Good
Canada.
Canada,
Oh,
nada.
We're well, like they keep.
They lost to Sweden 1-0.
Well, they keep pushing. They keep getting penalties because they're stupid.
Well,
I
listen,
I'm
would
still
not-
waiting for when Will comes on the podcast again so he can finally do his long-awaited F1 rant.
Well,
Oh,
Ricardo's penalty because he did drive off the track. He passed Lando Norris off the track.
but here's a question: was the penalty necessary? And
Well,
like
Yeah.
I said about this
the
era of
rule.
instant replay, is it
I-
just?
Like,
is
I
it
didn't
justified?
see the replay,
But-
so I can't say. But I'm biased towards Ricardo, so the FIA is dead to me.
but the problem is when you pass one car 5 seconds, that's the usual rule. He passed Raikkonen also off the track, so that's 2 penalties of 5
Here's
seconds.
the thing: do they look at repeat offenses on a certain driver for before calling a penalty, or do they look at?
I've seen them.
Do they look? I forgot what I was gonna say. Or maybe it's just the moment itself, because we saw it with Vettel.
Like they saw it and they reviewed it. But I've seen them review stuff because, like, they review it multiple times before having something go on. I've seen them review
And-
it. It took a while to review it.
And to reiterate, though, I have to mention that in Formula One and maybe just the FIA in general, I usually, like I said, I'm doing everything. I'm making sure, and I'll say it extra clear that Lewis Hamilton is not their favorite, and they don't do this to like favor somebody or someone.
Oh,
Here's what I'm gonna say. The FIA is like a sensitive vase in certain when it comes to certain penalties and rules, infractions. And you know that one vase in the house, you know,
Yeah.
you always go to someone's house, they have like antiques all over. Antiques. Don't touch that. Don't touch it. If you touch it, it breaks. And it seems like a lot of teams have been touching the item that breaks in the house.
I said it before, but I'll say it again. The FIA, it's starting to get towards the FIA in general. The more I see it, than just Formula One, because even with the World Endurance Championship, the FIA sacrifices good racing for prestige.
but
This
it's been
is-
a rule-
It is really sad.
This is FIFA. This is like motorsports version of FIFA.
I told you it's been a rule since '86. It's been.
I
a rule-
know.
That doesn't
You
mean
have
it's a
to
good
Go
rule.
into the
Oh.
glossary and look at rule point 184534577 whatever.
Oh my god, it's like the LGBT. There's like just countless letters and numbers.
Okay,
Ugh.
back on track though.
About, like,
Back on track.
like every driver should know the rules. So if you go off the track, you should know that you're not allowed to do that.
Yeah, exactly.
But why did Ricardo do that?
I did see that. Like I said, I don't keep up with F1 much, but I did see that, and I thought that was interesting as well.
Yeah, I just got one more thing I want to mention though. Is like
Track. When I saw that, he went from 7 to 11 by driving off the track to pass people. That's a rule. You're not supposed to do that.
but is this Mario Kart or is this racing?
That's how.
Yeah.
It's been a rule since '86. They have to respect the call, so that's the call.
To be fair, if there was a real life version of Mario Kart, I would 100% watch it.
But then
If there
again,
was a
you have
real
to
life version of
ask,
Mario Kart, I'd race in it.
but then again, Justin, you have to ask: is this really justified?
Well, I've seen the rules in FIA, and that's been a rule implemented in the '80s. They have to have the same rule. They can't switch up the rules. They have to have the same rules. The only rules that's been changed is NASCAR's rules. That's still weird. Those rules about inspection and stuff.
Speaking of inspection, Yeah, speaking of inspection, I think if we're done talking about the French Grand Prix, let's move on to Gateway. Ross Chastain.
Yeah,
Let's talk about the man. The man is a blessing.
The
from-
man of the melon.
The man of the melon, baby.
The melon man.
Let's talk about Gateway.
I'm still mad.
What'd you guys think of it?
Wow. I fell asleep. I fell freaking asleep. I was watching
Wow.
the Nürburgring 24 hours. So, of course, I was up a whole night. You know,
That's fair. That's fair. Yeah.
Yeah, and we'll get to that later in the podcast. But what happened at Gateway was Car Shield 200. Yeah,
Yep.
there it is.
Yeah. That's right.
Hold on. I did take notes on this as well, but so let's get into this. Practice and qualifying pretty much was non-existent.
Except they had a practice that's replaced qualifying. That's why owner
Yeah.
points. So Christian Eckes did get the pole. So 51 has 2 in a row poles because of owner points. So
You want to win a truck race? Just have Rudy Fugle as your crew chief.
Yeah. But Christian Eckes did get dumped at the end. Still mad at Friesen for it. Friesen did dump him for 3rd place. He dumped in turn 1 on the final lap. Eckes got dumped for 3rd. I'm like, really? I'm so mad at Friesen, and that was my pick. I'm like, Friesen, why? I was yelling at Friesen, telling him, you don't hit people. It's like Friesen getting dumped by Sauter the year before in 2018. like about that race, the first caution, the freaking zero had to hit the wall on lap 3. I'm like, really? We have a caution on lap 3? It was the 0.
Okay, first of all, Ian Tolman. First of all, this guy, I'll give you guys a fun fact about. He's in the comment section right now. Ian is he lives in Mooresville, and I knew him in high school. So
Right.
in his senior year, he moved to Mooresville, North Carolina, and just 1 year in high school, and in his English class, guess who he ends up sitting next to? I think you guys. I think I told you before.
I know. I know.
Ian, you could say it in the chat if you're still there.
Yeah, he's in the chat talking about how, and I quote, Joe is a whole snack.
Bruh.
Like,
What should I say? Ha! Gay!
about the, like,
Okay, he said say Joe. So yeah, Carson Alge was the girl he sat next to in English class.
Right.
And I think we all know who she is.
Yep.
She is the
Fucking hell.
niece of Dale Earnhardt Jr.,
Yep.
Oh,
and the
my
grandson of Dale
God.
Earnhardt.
Yep.
Do it for Dale.
Do
Like,
it for Dale.
like, but you know about Gateway?
Oh yeah, back on Gateway.
Guess who withdrew? Brendan Poole in the 30 truck. He's the one.
Again?
I feel bad, man.
Yes, that 30 withdrew. So that's how the 74 of Lou Goss made the race.
Let me guess. Is it because of sponsorship?
It could be because sometimes they brought blank trucks.
This
However,
isn't the first time they withdrew from a race.
Didn't they
Yeah.
withdraw, which race did they withdrew from?
Kansas.
Kansas? Yeah, Kansas.
Kansas, and then they got a second at Charlotte the next race. But I don't. It's annoying that they can't find sponsorship even if they get good finishes. Like,
And that's a fun thing to say though. Sponsorship is about publicity.
like
How
we-
much can you put yourself out there for attention? And I know the times have changed.
Natalie Decker.
Okay, the 90s. Let's go with the
Or-
90s. Wait, Matt was making a point. Matt, go on.
Me?
Yeah, you were saying something.
No, I was laughing.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, I was laughing. Keep going. I like the conversation. Where
You
we're
know,
going.
maybe Natalie Decker wrecks all those times so she has more time to take her selfies.
You know what? I can't say anything. I interviewed her like 2 weeks ago, and she was wonderful. So I refrain from the jokes as I used to make them.
Well, not just that. By the way, that
Dude, my girlfriend is a fan of Natalie Decker.
hey,
Oh,
Chicago-
same. My wife loves Natalie Decker. It's
Hey,
like her favorite
oh,
person on
man.
Instagram.
You didn't think Natalie Decker would be bad enough.
She's a
Dylan
great
loved
personality,
it.
though.
She's a great personality. But
Natalie
with the
Decker
trucks,
is very well liked.
Well,
She was the
Yeah.
nicest person I've ever interviewed.
Oh, man,
she was
she's so-
wonderful during the interview.
She's
She
a
was like,
sweetheart,
"Hi!" And I
man.
was like,
She really
"Oh my
is.
god, you're so nice." I was like, "All right, I like you now."
And that's
Like,
why I
she's
want to
so
think twice
down to
before
earth.
trashing on somebody.
like,
Yeah,
I'll just
exactly.
say, I'll just say this:
we have
if you see drunken Brian France on Twitter, me and him are basically on the same
Oh.
page when it comes to Natalie Decker.
well, we have-
Dude, that's the best Twitter account, by the way.
It is.
Oh,
Fucking
God.
love the guy.
hey, by the way, you think that's bad enough? Oh no, David Gilliland gets the number 5 truck for Dylan Lupton.
Yeah, it only gets worse.
Yeah, if you guys
Dylan
don't know,
Lupton.
Justin, and Joseph, they love Dylan Lupton.
Oh yeah. Woo. People
Okay,
don't-
before we talk about Dylan Lupton, let's talk about how Ross Chastain basically gave the middle finger to NASCAR by winning.
What? He actually did.
Well, I
why?
mean, listen, he
Did he really?
he
flip
put
the
on a
bird?
hell of a show. This guy
Well, I
was unbelievable. We saw him like you could feel like the adrenaline in him, like even more so. In those last 21 laps.
like. I remember that race. Like, I guess would have been a challenge. It could have challenged it, but no, he had to get dumped by Friesen. Friesen has to know not to dump someone on the racetrack. What like Gillen got second for Todd Gillen. That's good.
Yeah.
Harrison Burton wrecked out with him and Creed hit the wall. Like,
Would Moffitt get 5th?
Moffitt, yeah, you got
I
it.
think it was 5th. Yeah.
like, and Snyder got 10th, driving the 13. I
The
guess
meme lord of NASCAR.
Stoddard has to not wreck someone again, but for Hill, Austin Hill is going to be watched by NASCAR for the rest of the season. That's what NASCAR said. But NASCAR said that for why Stoddard got the penalty was him. He didn't want to hit like there were safety trucks out there too on the track, and they didn't want the Stoddard to hit them and hit Hill under caution.
Here's what I'm gonna say
That's what NASCAR said, that you're not allowed to do that.
about what.
You're not allowed to, like, safety trucks were there in 1 and 2.
Who hit a safety truck?
Johnny Sauter was an inch close to hit a safety
Oh,
truck.
well, okay. Here's what I'm gonna say about Johnny Sauter, and I said this last week. If you just tap someone and spin them around, maybe later in the race for retaliation, okay, fine, spin around,
But
that's
under
it.
Caution.
But when you're going under caution, especially under caution, and you guide somebody to the wall, like back
Yeah.
Kenseth, Joey Logano, or Kyle
Yeah.
Busch and Ron Hornaday,
Yeah,
that's
but-
where the line is crossed, and
Yep.
there had to be something done about it.
Yep.
Whether you like Johnny Sauter or not. I love Johnny Sauter. I've grown up watching him race my entire life. He's one of those drivers that started racing before many of today's people, now even in their 20s, were born. So, and not just Johnny Sauter, but Tim Sauter, Jay Sauter, his 2 brothers, and his late father, Jim. A big racing family. So this goes back a long way. And it's funny. I said this after the 24 hours of Le Mans on a radio show. I was a guest caller to LTN, talking about a Johnny Sauter that we'd never seen before, and little did we know that was going to happen in the same race just hours after that, and it was only a 21-second call. But
Like,
I want to talk about I read somewhere that I want to go back to Ross Chastain's the winner. I think I read somewhere that they used the same setup from Iowa that they did at Gateway. So
it was not the setup. The problem was they said NASCAR saw the truck was too low at the truck was too low at Iowa.
yeah, so if you think that they used the same setup, then that had to be from damage probably, unless they're just lying, which
But-
who knows?
Nice Motorsports says there was damage. That's what Nice Motorsports said. That there was damage on the.
do you think damage could lead to somebody failing inspection?
Well, people
Of course.
said about the rear
That's
windshield.
awesome. That's what Stardust Racing tried saying with Kevin Harvick. They're like, oh, something broke in the back. They're
Yeah,
not
but
like,
not
nope.
true, and then-
Yeah, but wouldn't they be able to tell the difference, right? I mean, if
Yeah.
something's just broken versus something like illegally
yeah,
manufactured.
like about Gateway. Like there's some truck series teams, like like entering like one truck or two trucks is good. No, Josh Rayome brings three trucks: the 32, 33, and 34. Why does he need three trucks
Okay,
out there?
let me get into this. When you are a team owner, which I
Yeah.
am not, let me. The
Really?
closest I am to
Really?
being a team owner is on NASCAR 06 Fight to the Top mode,
Nice.
where I have like Cup Championship trophies all over my
Very
imaginary
successful
deck.
team owner. Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh
I'm
yeah.
sure many of you can relate.
Yeah.
But
you and Joe
we're talking
get
real
jumping-
life.
Yeah.
When you're a team owner like Josh Rayome,
Yeah.
you have to field trucks or cars, depending on how many you bring.
Yeah.
And you see Daniel Sassnet engine with 80 laps.
And Brian Barnhill was another of the trucks.
Brian Barno. Oh, he ran the full race.
34. And the 33 of Josh Rayome. That Josh sometimes won the full race. Like we've seen about the Farm Park teams. Like we've seen Gregory Rail, zero truck, blows tire on lap 3. And then the other to 10, multiple laps down. Jennifer Jo Cobb was many laps down in that 10 truck. Like,
But you know, they field them.
yeah.
Like,
Like-
here's the way I see it with like these whole like small teams like Star Park. Number one, I always think that it's good to have more cars on the grid, especially nowadays with NASCAR, where they're struggling to fill up their fields. I think that if you bring more cars into the grid, it's always going to be a good thing. And it's even better when you have small teams like Brandon Brown in the Xfinity Series, who they're like top 15 in points. They got the spotlight. It's always good to have those small teams do good, especially Greg Galding at Talladega.
And that also about the Stern parts. Remember last year when John Hunter would drive the 8? Never Stern Park. The 87 of Joe would Stern Park. No, now this year when John Hunter's not in any of the trucks, last race we had Tyler Ankrum in the 87, Stern Park. Kana Murphy in the 8, Stern Park. But without John Hunter, they would never Stern Park the 8 if John Hunter was racing the truck, because you know how good John Hunter Nemechek was. So that's why he would all.
Here's what I'm gonna say though. John Hunter Nemechek also had the fundings of traditional sponsors that would help keep him up there, but that's for another discussion.
Right.
As for your usual Star and Park teams, I always refer to RSS Racing because they're a growing team. How many top fives does Ryan Sieg have?
Not Ryan Reed,
I
no.
know Ryan Sieg. Like I said, that
I think it has 2 top 5s.
I believe so.
Yeah.
2 top 5s in this whole season.
Yeah.
It's 2 top 5s, 6 top 10s, I think.
RSS has three cars. They
Yeah.
start a 38 of Jeff Green, 93 Josh Bilecki. They star in Park every race. It's always them two, except Kansas. They had 4 cars. 3 of them star in Park. There's the 37, 38, and 93. Those 3 cars star in Park at Kansas.
Well, the 93 with Josh Bilicki, I mean, they're not really becoming a star in Park really anymore. You're seeing like Josh Bilicki's starting to get more sponsorship.
Yeah, Bilecki has more sponsored. 38, Jeff Green. I wonder, what are they going to do with 38? Because Green's going to be out after Kentucky for a race.
I feel bad. I feel bad for Jeff Green because think about it. In 2000, he had one of the most dominating championships in NASCAR history,
that's true.
and now
Oh yeah.
starting parking.
Yeah, driving the 38 RSS race.
It's like what's going wrong here,
Like, my
N-
question.
Nowadays it's about how much brass you got in your pocket.
Like,
Back then it's like you look at somebody, you could say this guy is really good behind the wheel. I want this guy. But nowadays it's like who's got the biggest brass in the pocket?
Speaking of that, and Gateway, did anybody else watch the ARCA race?
oh, I did see.
Yes, I have.
Unfortunately, I missed
Congratulations to Ty Gibbs.
Yeah.
First career win.
Fill me in.
Whoa.
Fill me in.
Oh man, that was a bold move there at the end. I loved it.
Sam Mayer was pissed after that. That 15.
Yeah.
I did not
Yeah.
see it though.
Oh,
Didn't he
Yeah,
hit
me
him?
neither.
He kind of bumped him afterwards too,
Yeah.
just letting him know. Like,
Mayer was not happy. He got down the third, and
I
guess,
will say also, Ty Gibbs is 16 and he
Yeah.
looks 12.
yeah, he
Oh my
does.
gosh.
Oh yeah, I know that. Like I've seen pictures of
Dude,
Yeah,
Ty.
his
look-
voice I don't think has changed yet.
Dude looks 12. It
He-
blows my mind.
I'll give the
My
guy
wife
credit.
was like, how
Right.
old is he? I was like, 16.
Well, he's literally I'm the same age as him. I'm a month and 2 days younger than Ty Gibbs. But we've seen a couple ARCA drivers in the truck race. Chandler Smith that unfortunately had battery issues in the ARCA.
And I'll get into Chandler Smith just now. I had stats right here
Like,
about his ARCA career, and they're very.
his ARCA career is impressive.
All right. Of his total 15 starts, he has 7 poles and 4 victories.
Yep.
This guy is unbelievable.
Yeah, you've seen what he's been doing.
All right, boys. I just got the info. I got to go.
All right.
Sorry, I got to run.
Thank you.
I'm crazy swamped. I had a lot of fun, though, joining the conversation. Hope to do it again.
All right. Thanks for tuning on.
Yeah, and then I'll be in touch with y'all, too. Maybe I'll get y'all on the podcast.
All right, cool. No problem. Yeah, just send us a DM and we'll see what we can do.
Awesome.
All right. Take
Thanks
care,
a lot,
bud.
guys.
All right.
Take care, brother.
Thank you.
Later.
Bye. Do it for Dale. All right, that was
Justin,
Rob
I want to
Snake
finish
with
my
Chair-
point on
Rob
Chandler Smith.
Snake with Chair again, guys. Once again, want to thank him for joining the podcast. So let's get back to the conversation.
Yeah, I'm so eager to say this, but you know how many laps Chandler Smith led at Iowa?
How many?
55.
Yeah, first start.
Finished 8th.
Well, he could have actually had big contention. He would have been second if he didn't speed in the final stage. He did speed, but also the radio problems in stage 1. He had the, radio problems.
Yeah, radio issues, and then he spun on pit road.
He sped on pit road, leaving second place, sped, but he managed to get 8th at Iowa and then 4th at Gateway. In that, plus he had to start in the back because he drove the 46 at Gateway. He started 25th as a owner point, finished 4th. He's impressing me. Like I remember his first ARCA start, led some laps, start on the pole, finished top 5 in his first ARCA start. Like that. Do you want to what?
Yeah.
His ARCA start Gateway, the first time he didn't get a top 10. Every start he had a top 10. The Gateway's the first one he didn't get a top 10 because of battery issues. Like I've noticed that. And also, Michael Self had axle issues on lap 85 with 30 some laps to go. Axle broke on the 25. But now, Brett Holmes is still second. But of all the top 3 for the championship, guess who finished the highest? Travis Brain. Travis Brain finished the highest in the 27. He's third. Standings. He's not doing too bad. Travis Brain's basically the underdog, they call him, because he's on a lower team. Don Fike is the owner. AJ Fike's team.
He's related to Aaron Fike.
Yeah. That team is the odd one out. The 23, that's Brett Holmes' race team, which does Chevy and Toyota. They're also people thought, Joe Graf Jr. is going to be second up there, being better, but people didn't expect to see Brett Holmes in the 23 and Travis Brain's 27 car beat contention. People didn't expect that. People thought,
All right, I'm just pulling up the stats right now to get a clearer look of the standings for 2019.
But I think Christian Eckes could be a contender.
30 points is actually really good.
But where's Christian Eckes after missing one race?
65 points behind.
But Eckes has still a shot in that.
I want to get into Christian Eckes in regards to the truck race, though. Christian Eckes.
Yeah. It was. I know he only his second start of the season. Because some races.
Speaking of trucks, I just want to say this, and I could finally reiterate my statement that I said back in Iowa that I had to retract. So how about no KBM trucks in the playoffs?
Well, Gillen did get second place, so he's
Yeah, but Gilliland's like ninth in the standings, and if
well. Where's
any
Where's Harrison Burns?
Burns 6th in the standings, but if any of them want to get into the playoffs, they have to pass either Ben Rhodes, Matt Crafton, Stuart Friesen, or Grant Enfinger, and the lowest one is Ben Rhodes, but it's like nearly a full race ahead of them.
Well, you never know. Rhodes could still have mistakes.
The only one I could see making it is Burton, because Burton is actually starting to run top 5, like his
Well-
truck should be doing. Gilliland is still like irrelevant.
But
Right.
it's the-
I'm still
I-
waiting for
so,
Gillen
like,
to be consistent.
like,
Here's
I
the thing, though.
want a crew
And-
chief on the 4. Like, why did they put Rui Fugle with the 51? They could have kept him with the 4. They could.
That's a
keep him
great question, though.
four.
I mean, Rudy
Like-
Fugle, though.
Like,
Rudy-
he helped Christopher Bell win a championship. Like Kyle Busch's crew chief could be anything. Even a potato would be a good crew chief, and he would still.
A potato.
Potato, really?
Even a random person like me.
This isn't a potato farm. This is NASCAR.
like,
Yeah,
The
man.
watermelon farm.
Well, even if I
In
was-
this case, yes.
well, if I was the
A
50,
weed
if I
farm.
was the 51 crew
Stay
chief,
off the
Hey.
That
damn.
damn
Hey.
weed.
you know when Kyle Busch won Martinsville? If I was his crew chief at Martinsville, Kyle Busch would have still won, even if I was the crew chief.
Okay, maybe you make a point, but Kyle Busch isn't God.
Yeah, but he's still.
I
good
mean,
crew chief
Uh,
is the problem. So you don't need to give your best crew chief to the 51. You could.
I
Give,
might get killed for saying that, but I
I would give it to like the 4. Help Gillen. Wes Ward has not much experience as a crew chief.
you're right. We have the
Yeah,
better
you're
driver.
right.
You should let the better driver maybe do the owning. But I think Rudy Fugle in the 15, maybe there's just better chemistry working with different drivers. Is what I'm trying to say.
Like I don't like. I'm still trying to think like I don't even know like the 18 out of crew chief change also. I don't even know who's the crew chief of the 46. Like I've seen I thought Hendrick was gonna get a crew chief change for Alex Bowman because he was not performing well. He proved me wrong by finishing second 3 times. I don't know about the crew chiefs. I wonder if they could get a more experienced crew chief that has a lot of years. I don't know how many years Wes Ward's been a crew chief. They would get a crew chief that has more years experience would maybe help.
Here's the thing though with the crew chief.
Like,
They are the ones that determine when you come down pit road.
yeah. They are the one that has the strategy.
They call the shots.
Yeah.
You know when Ty Majeski almost made it on fuel, the Ty Majeski's 2 wins and almost made it on fuel at Michigan. Guess who's his crew chief? Paul Andrews. A crew chief. He was even crew chief for Michael Waltrip back then. He was crew chief way long before. He has experience,
Well, Pat Trison is a very skilled crew chief,
but
without a doubt.
But who's the crew chief of the 4 is Wes Ward. I don't know how many years he has.
West Ward.
The thing is, a rookie crew chief.
He was the crew chief for the 46 truck. That only runs part time. I'm looking at the crew chiefs. Where is it? KBM. Trying to find KBM. Okay. Right now the crew chief, Marcus Richmond is gonna. Wes Ward and Michael Shelton are the crew chiefs currently. It's supposed to be Marcus Richmond. Mike Hillman Jr., crew chief of the 18. Rudy Fugle's the crew chief of the 51. But it's Mike Hillman Jr. has experience. But it's Wes Ward and Michael Shelton and Marcus Richmond. I've seen some crew chief, some crew chiefs are really experienced, like Scott Cipodelli, crew chief for Austin Hill. Joe Shear Jr., crew chief of Sauter. Junior Joyner, crew chief of Crafton.
Yeah.
Like Phil Gould.
Phil Gold, very experienced as well.
He used to be Ryan Reed's crew chief, now crew chief of the 45. Doug George was the crew chief for the 44. I'm looking at all these crew chiefs.
They're
Jerry Baxter, crew chief of the 24. Doug Randolph, crew chief.
Let's
of the,
talk about the point standing so far in the trucks.
I'll say this on crew chiefs. Yeah, they are experienced, but at the same time, it's like you're in a truck that's capable of like, winning races all the damn time. And if you could barely crack the top 10, I'm like I think Gillen is probably just having a sophomore slump, but if you're in KBM equipment, like
well,
that's not acceptable.
well, Harvick had a sophomore slump too at RCR in 2002.
That's I'm not. I mean,
Had a
I
win.
don't understand that comparison if we're going from the trucks to the cup
Like-
levels in two different eras. But I will definitely tell you this:
Like, I just
when
want-
Carl Edwards ran the 2006 season versus 2005, I mean, I
He
don't know
was
if he was not a rookie in
awful
05.
2006.
Yeah, he was pretty
Right.
much a field filler for the moment,
like,
and he was kind of close in the Busch Series championship in 05 for a little bit,
Right.
even though Truex won it. But in 2006, Kevin Harvick walked away with it without even a chance of Carl Edwards catching up to him.
I'm,
So it didn't just affect him in Cup.
I'm just trying to.
He was a
think.
Busch Series rookie in 05.
I'm just trying to think about like my question. If I was experienced, like I'm saying, I'm not good as a crew chief. If I was, I know I'm saying if I had the knowledge, like a crew
Yes.
chief would. I don't know, like what I do.
Well,
like-
some crew chiefs are good. Some crew chiefs are just bad. I mean,
It's also about chemistry.
Like
Yeah. I don't.
Chemistry doesn't happen overnight.
Yeah, like for example, I don't really want to use Jimmy Johnson, Chad Canales as an example because that was like nearly 20, like 17, 18 years ago. So I'll give a more recent one. Eric Jones and what's the name of his crew chief?
Chris Gale.
Chris Gale in their rookie season in the Cup Series. They didn't win, but they got 4 or 5 top 5s and 14 top 10s. Not a bad
Right.
rookie season.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
So some crew chiefs are just at the same time, a crew chief could be, you may not have the experience, but you could still be a decent crew chief. I
Yeah.
mean, at the end of the day, crew chief, you need to know how to set up a car.
Also about that, my question, I don't know if Marcus Richmond, Wes Ward, and Michael Shelton are good chemistry with Todd Gillen because he's had 3 different crew chiefs just this season. But Marcus Richmond is the main crew chief. He started the season with.
You guys, I'm gonna
Oh.
go now. I'll catch you on the next podcast.
All right.
Hey, Justin,
Yeah.
would you like to be a part of my show Full Throttle on Friday?
Sure.
Thanks, brother.
All right. Take care. And
All right,
remember,
thanks.
stay off
The
damn
damn
weed.
All right, man. Catch you guys later.
All right. Peace.
You're a nut, bro. Take care.
About the my question, if I was experienced if I was a crew chief, I wonder would I do good with Todd Gillen? I wonder if I could get the
To
chemistry.
me, this seems like it has the same effect that would change a crew chief for Dale Earnhardt Jr. from 2004 to 2005. Because Todd Gillen wasn't that bad last season. I mean, had he actually run all the races last year, he probably would have made the chase. And he could have easily won 3 races last year. I think it's gone his way. But guess what? They changed the crew chief, and now Todd Gillen's fallen off a cliff, similar to Dale Jr. in 2004.
Okay.
Yeah.
About falling off a cliff. What
For
happens
his
when you
fans.
land after falling off a cliff?
You die, depending on how high the cliff is.
Or can you get back up?
No.
That's another question, too.
But-
Can you get back up if you're someone like Kurt Busch, which many people thought his career was in the toilet after 2012?
I'm looking at about 2004. You guess who was Dale Jr.'s crew chief in 04?
Tony Senior. Or was it?
What? I think it was senior, but he
Yeah, it
was
was Tony Senior. 6 wins in the season, finished top 5 in points.
2005.
They switched to Michael Waltrip's crew chief that he had in 2005. He wins 1 race and finishes 19th in points.
They went from to
Where is
I
it?
can't whistle.
I'm looking here.
They went from
They
this in 2004 to I don't have a 2005 car, so we'll just nothing irrelevant there.
Like
Besides
Michael
Chicago.
Like Michael Waltrip's crew chief in 04 was Pete Rondo. They switched him to Dale Earnhardt Jr. because I say that, like, I guess Teresa for some reason made the deal to put yeah.
Yeah,
Teresa-
let's put
The Yoko Ono of NASCAR.
Yeah, let's break up the pairing that won us the most races we've ever won
Yeah,
this season.
put
Let's
it-
break that pairing up.
Yeah, and put it to Michael that only has 4 wins.
And I don't even think Michael Waltrip won a race in 2005, did he?
Michael
Nope.
Waltrip's last
No.
career win came in 2003.
Yeah, so
Yeah, so he didn't even win a race, so it's like it was worthless.
like
Well, he left and started the making of his own team in
oh,
afterwards.
2006.
2006, but he collaborated with Bill Davis.
but I guess that it was whoever there was a listed owner of the 55 that was not Bill Davis.
Doug Bow, I think it
Doug
was.
Bow was the owner of the 55.
Doug Bow. They did collaborate with Bill Davis, though.
Yeah, but Bill,
Trust me, I remember
right.
that season from
Bill
this
Davis.
He
day.
was in a Dodge.
Bill Davis fielded the 55, but
Bill
Doug,
Davis will field everything but a Dodge
but,
while
but,
running a Dodge
but
to the
Doug,
point where, sorry to interrupt you, Justin, but they sued and they couldn't even run the Dodge logo for the rest of 2006.
come on,
I-
about Bill Davis, he would field the 55, but Doug Bow was listed owner. That's what they did. They put listed owner Doug Bow on the 55. They were fielding 2 shit cars with the 22. Who was the 22 in 06? Was it
Dave Blaney.
yeah,
oh,
Dave.
not Wimmer? Okay,
I remember the season by heart.
2005 was Wimmer, but then Wimmer left.
Scott Wimmer, or
Ugh.
as my friend calls Swimmer, as Scott Wimmer. Yeah, definitely drowned in Bill Davis Racing and
Like,
got released from the team.
Well, Bill Davis Racing, like, they started falling off the cliff. Oh, they were so bad. Like, we seen how bad they were, like, and then, like, about, like, crew chiefs, like, there's some crew chief pairings. Remember when Dale Jr. had 2 different crew chiefs? After Tony Eury Jr., they had someone else and Lance McGrew. Then Lance McGrew was the crew chief in 2010. When Steve Letarte was the crew chief of the 88, then things started picking up.
Well, Steve Leclerc does not exist. I was about to say Steve Letarte.
Yeah,
Steve Letarte.
yeah.
The thing about him is he brought the Jeff Gordon
Yeah, he was
up again. I think it was his name Robbie Loomis?
Yeah,
Yeah, when Loomis left after, was it 2002, 2003?
yeah.
No. I think it was 2007. Joe's got to do his research.
Like,
Here's
Come
here's an interesting thing. You can I kind of just thought of this just now. You can have drivers that will do good, will have chemistry with any crew chief, and they'll perform in anything. Or you can have drivers where they don't mix with their crew chiefs,
well,
and like they'll end up they could fall off a cliff or not do as good. A driver that can work with any crew chief, Kurt Busch. Think about it. I mean, he was great. He was great at Roush. He won them a championship. He was great at Penske. Even when he was with Phoenix Racing, he got them a top 5 finish. When he got Stuart Haas, he was great with Stuart Haas. He had two or
What
three
about Furniture Row Racing in 2013? Gave him their first ever chase
first
appearance.
race in 2013, 2014.
Exactly.
Like, how many crew chiefs has Kurt Busch worked with? Because he can work with all of them. Because he's
But
that
I-
good of a driver. He's got that chemistry. Whereas you have a driver like Dale Earnhardt Jr., who, they
He's
don't got,
someone loyal.
or even Jeff Gordon, where if they don't have like the right mix, mesh with the crew chief, then they're not going to do good. Or I don't really want to say Jimmy Johnson yet because Kevin Mendering's in his first season, and like Jimmy Johnson, there was kind of cracks in between his relationship with Canal starting in 2015.
like, remember Kevin Mindering? He was only a crew chief for Elliott Sadler in the Xfinity Series. This is his first time in Cup.
Yeah, let's give the guy who hasn't won the crew chief who hasn't won a race in 2016. Let's bring him to the Cup Series.
Like, about I was thinking about the I've seen about some crew chiefs like there's some of them like Kurt Busch, and for Stuart Haas he had Daniel Knost, Tony Gibson, Billy Scott, and plus when Tony Gibson was not at the track in 2016, his crew chief was Johnny Klausmeier, and that's currently Eric Almirola's crew chief. At the time, Johnny Klausmeier was the 41 car chief. And you know what happened that race? Kurt Busch won Pocono in 2016 with him as crew chief. Like Kurt Busch has been doing good with any crew chief. Like
Yeah, because Kurt Busch has that. Well, this I don't know what like this in my opinion. Kurt Busch has that chemistry can have chemistry with it. It's like you're a movie actor. Like
Yeah.
let's say you're Robert Downey Jr. or Samuel L. Jackson.
yeah,
You're gonna have chemistry with everyone that you work with. I mean, you could just
Yeah.
tell. That's what Kurt Busch has.
yeah, like
And I don't think people talk. I don't think people talk about crew chief chemistry as much as they should. Well, they talk about crew chief chemistry when a driver changes and then that driver's season falls off a cliff. But they don't really talk about when a driver could just like, let's say you're like Kurt Busch. I'm going to go back to Kurt Busch when he has chemistry with all of his crew chiefs. Not many people talk about like like oh Kurt Busch has all this chemistry. Like they don't really do that.
like Kurt Busch right now has a good crew chief, Matt McCall.
Someone look this up. Did Dale Earnhardt Sr. have a crew chief change in 1981?
81?
He driving for Rod Osterlund.
Yeah.
I think there was a crew chief change from 80 to 81 because remember he won the title in 80, but he went winless in 81.
I wonder. Let me go check.
I'm doing the Google search right now, and I'm just gonna fall for Wikipedia.
So
Because
you're better off
sometimes
going to Racing
Wikipedia is the only
Reference.
place where you can find valuable
You're better off
information.
going to Racing Reference in all honesty. But like I said, like I
Oh,
feel like drivers like Kurt Busch are rare,
Oh.
where it's like they can have chemistry with everyone.
1981 was Doug Richard, crew chief of the two. Doug Richard.
Yeah.
1981. Let me go check 1980. The year before that. Where's Osterlund's? Rod was Jake Elder. And Doug Richard.
I
Yeah,
mean,
crew
we're
chief.
talking about someone who is barely 20 years old
But it was Doug
as a
Richard.
crew chief.
Well, the problem was Doug
I'm
Richard.
gonna give a little bit of a hot take. I think that William Byron and Chad Knaus have more chemistry than Chad Knaus and Jimmy Johnson.
You know what? I think you are right on some parts, but you're not entirely correct.
Like about
Well,
like,
yeah, I mean, that has a lot to do with, William Byron, he's a sophomore. Chad Knaus, he's a 7-time champion. So, William Byron, he's not really going to question Knaus like Jimmy Johnson and Knaus would. But, like, throughout their entire season, like throughout their entire careers, they would always have, like, these bickering. Like Eric Estep said on one of his videos where it's like they only strive for perfection. And when they did have perfection, they would bicker with each other. They would bicker. Like, I think in an interview, Jimmy Johnson said like he never really hung out with Chuck. It was more just like a work relationship. It's like you felt like they would work good together, but like it was only really work. But there was like the little spark that wasn't really there. I see that a little bit more with like William Byron and Chuck, and now it's like that little spark for like chemistry. And I mean, it's working. I mean, William Byron is like 29 points above the cut line. Meanwhile, Jimmy Johnson's on the outside looking in.
like about like Chad Knaus, like I remember some races last year and at the end of 2017 there was problems because Johnson would never like Johnson and Knaus like Knaus would try to ask Johnson what's wrong with the car, and then Johnson would say I don't know, and then told him to he couldn't say what was going on with the car. Somehow he couldn't explain to Chad. Like, he couldn't explain what's going on with the car. That's one thing that's like that gets kind of weird when you can't explain how the car is. Because,
Sometimes, like I said, no driver or team is the same.
like,
Here,
Yep.
if we're done talking about Gateway, we haven't talked about IndyCar at all.
You're
Oh.
right. I do have my notes.
so
Like I said, I'm taking lots of notes. We do need to talk about our upcoming races and the Nürburgring 24 hours and sports cars. But if you want to get into IndyCar, let's go.
that IndyCar race that.
Yeah, it felt like a blur. It
Well,
was a blur.
I'm glad that. Do you want to know how Matt? Do you want to know at the end of the race? Do you want to know what I said when Joseph said BRB and stuff on Skype?
What?
Some reason, you know that Rossi won in a Honda. Second place was, I said,
Willpower.
and then Newgarden got third. I said after the race, I'm like, Ray Hall, you're not allowed to. There's not allowed to be 2 Hondas on the podium. It has to be 2 Chevys. That's what I said about because I really wanted,
But a Honda won the pole.
but well, Herta, yeah, somehow got a better lap. I didn't expect Herta to do that, but Herta, how he didn't get a better finish. He went off the track. He went wide. The tires were gone. Like you saw how half the drivers were sideways. Like you saw Dixon sideways. You've seen a lot of drivers getting sideways off the track. Like we had no cautions. We had one person out of the race was the number 8, the number 98.
Marco
Marco
Andretti had a
Andretti.
mechanical problem.
That really sucks for that 98 team. Mechanical problems. Like it's just annoying and like that race. But the problem was why Herta didn't challenge for the lead as much. His tires were more worn.
I have the point standings in hand right here.
Like
Go on.
he ran the race. He ran harder in qualifying. That's why his tires were more shot, like more worn compared to.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he ran more laps, and that's how he got the pole.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
the
so I
reason.
have the standings in hand right here. I got the top 10 points written down. After this race, Joseph Newgarden still remains in the points lead,
Shit.
7 points above
Oh.
Alexander Rossi. So
That-
Rossi moves up to second in the standings. Simon Pagino is third, who is the month of May Superior guy. Yeah, that
The
guy.
month of May champion.
Yes. Scott Dixon, the 5-time champion, remains in fourth. Will Power is fifth. So 3 Penske's in the top 5. Well, Power is coming along. And Power is 108 points behind. Takuma Sato doing a great job for Ray Hall Lanigan Racing, or Letterman. Yeah, the team that David
Ray
Letterman.
Hall, Letterman, Lanigan.
Yes. Sato 6, 110 points behind. Then Ryan Hunter-Ray is in 7th with 131 points behind. I don't know. I'm kind of worried about Ryan Hunter-Ray, but I'll get to him in a moment. Graham Rahal sits in 8th in points. James Hinchcliffe is the lone Canadian in the top 10. And Felix Rosenquist is the lone Swede in the top 10. So, yeah. The rookie, Felix Rosenquist, that was
Where's
my pick to win.
Santino Ferrucci?
Santino Ferrucci fell outside the top 10 points.
But yeah, but where's he in the standings?
Let me take a look. I only written down the top 10 in points.
Also, in case you're interested, this Universal Air kit has just been the biggest benefactor. This has been Alexander Rossi. Think about this: 2016, he got his first win at Indianapolis, the Indy 500, but it was due to fuel mileage. 2017, I think he dominated Watkins Glen, or like he led a lot of laps, but he still won by like less than a second. Ever since the Universal Air kit in 2018, I think his like smallest margin of victory was like, I think like 8 seconds or something. So there's been no bigger benefactor to this Universal Air kit than Alexander Rossi. And that also has to do with the fact that keep this remember. Sorry. Did they sorry.
Carry on.
I'll talk when I stop dying. All right, I think I stopped dying for now. So
Yes, you did.
in 2017 to 2018, did they only switch the numbers with Andretti and Rossi, or did they switch teams entirely?
I can't. That's a great question.
I've heard. You know the number 27 is Andretti.
By the way, yes, Ashley. Hold on. Yes, me and my notes.
The
I'm
98.
getting used to them.
The 98 is Andretti Autosports with Brian Herta. That's a 98 car.
Yeah.
But Rossi got the 27 to Andretti just by himself.
Oh, really?
Marco Andretti got to Andretti Autosport with Brian Herta in that 98 car.
Yeah, but that started this year. 2018, it was just pure Andretti. Like there wasn't only Brian Herta or nothing like that yet.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
merged
But
after
now
2016. Am I right?
No, in 2018, Brian Herta I think was purely Harding Racing.
But now it's Harding Racing is what Harding Racing with George Steinbrenner.
Steinbrenner, and they got an Andretti
Not
along.
George Steinbeck, not the author.
No, George Steinbrenner the fourth. He's the fourth. Yes. Yeah.
Wait,
Because again, if they switched teams entirely, goes back to the crew chief saying, crew chief better pairing. Then again, Rossi is like a driver like Kurt Busch. He can win with whatever crew chief if that's the case. If he can win with the 98 crew chief, and he can do even better with the 27 crew chief.
Like I've heard about.
not John Steinbeck. I was thinking of the author of of Mice and Men.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Overrated book. Convince me otherwise.
Well, wait.
I read it. Unfortunately,
I read it
was all
too.
right. It was all right.
I read it in 10th grade. For
I read it
English.
in 9th grade.
I don't remember what year I read it. That's how you know I don't care about the book.
Like about like I've heard sources say that the 27 people think Alexander Rossi so far is a free agent for 2020. People think he's going to go to Ganassi and get a 3-car team and there'll be a third car. Because so far in 2020 there's no sponsorship there's only one sponsorship. But Napa, I don't know what's going to go on with Napa, but so far Alexander Rossi's a free agent.
So wait,
If Napa doesn't stay with
Whoa. Yeah, like Rossi has Napa every time he won. He's had Napa on the car.
if Napa doesn't stay with Rossi, they need to get their head examined. Like Rossi is Napa's best driver right now. Sorry, Chase Elliott fans, but he's only won with Napa once.
Well,
Then again, he's won with all of his 4 Cup wins have been with different sponsors.
so Napa's contract ends after 2019.
yeah.
I'd be surprised. And like I said, I'd be surprised if Rossi, because everyone is like saying Rossi should go to Penske. Why does he need to go anywhere? I mean, he's
Well,
he's winning by over 20 seconds in Andretti equipment. I don't see why-
money. To counter argue, could you go somewhere else from strength to strength? I said this about Eric Jones in the podcast. It was actually still in early June or something. That could Eric Jones find a team that's better, and oh my god, and that can expand.
What do you
I
mean?
swear this comment section, man.
What are you trying? What do you?
Like
What do you?
Okay, let's get back on topic here. And but
like about like Penske, like Rossi going to Penske, they already have good drivers. Newgarden, 2017 champion, leading the points right now. Will Power, champion. Simon Pagenaud, champion. Like they're champions. And also, like, for some reason, people still think Newgarden doesn't deserve his Penske ride.
They need to get their head examined.
Like, you see what Newgarden's doing for Penske in his first year. Won the title in his first year with Penske in 2017. Somehow. He was stuck with Ed Carpenter. But then when he started driving for Penske, that's
let's let's get to the bottom of this. And yeah, one of my buddies just entered. What's up, dude?
Dude.
Yes, I know this guy for many years. When I held a league, a Le Mans series on Gran Turismo 6, and he was like the Lewis Hamilton of my series.
Okay.
You could not stop him for anything. Now he's actually one of the more well-known esports drivers in the Gran Turismo world. So give him credit for that. And he's also a nutcase.
Yep, they swapped seats. They swapped rides entirely, so it wasn't just the number.
Nope, they did. Yeah, that's what Andretti decided to do. People still think that it's not just an IndyCar what people think about Rossi going to Penske. It's like F1. They think Verstappen's gonna replace Bottas at Mercedes. Other things, people think that Bell's gonna take over the 20, and people think Custer's gonna take over Suarez or Boyer's ride. That's what's going on. But people still think Kurt Busch is out of a ride in the one, and Chastain's gonna take over the car. Like, that's what I've been hearing people say that, and like, it's like, why would like you see like what Eric Jones is doing at Gibbs? People still think no, Bell's the better driver. That's why Bell's gonna take over.
Here's the thing: is there enough room at JGR? Is
If
there?
we're talking about JGR, I'm just saying if anyone's getting replaced, it's Matt DiBenedetto.
That's my
Not
dad,
to Benedetto.
but like
I've made
Just
my comments
not
on the whole
drive
Eric
for
Jones.
JGR.
I'm just saying, like on the whole Eric Jones situation. Those same people that talked about Eric Jones are saying that Eric Jones doesn't deserve his right, nothing like that. They're the same people who said that Denny Hamlin was going to get replaced, no question, last year.
Denny Hamlin. Listen,
what?
Denny's
They
a
just-
veteran.
I don't know why they're doing it. Either A, they're just NASCAR fans who just love to complain because they're stuck in their mother's basement, or B, they're like on the Bill hype train and like they refuse to jump off.
They're also the same NASCAR fans who haven't got over the Martinsville incident in 2017. Oh yeah, we got a comment from dude watching the Hardy Steinbrenner 2021.
I
Hmm.
don't see that happening.
Hey,
I
Jordan-
don't.
What? Guess what I think's gonna happen in 2020.
Rossi's not going to go to a team where their reliability issues are in
Who?
question.
For me, guess what I think's gonna happen soon.
Throw it.
I would think, for some reason, I feel like Colin Hurd is going to get in the 98. Because Brian Herta, his father's the owner, and Marco Andretti's not even doing shit in that 98. He's doing dog crap things. At least Colin Herta has some decent things, but most of his problems mechanical issues. But Marco Andretti is not.
Marco Andretti is mediocre. Andretti
He has 2 wins. His last win was 2011.
or mediocre.
I like Marco, but it's like, yeah, it's like, what do you do? If
He's-
we're if we're gonna talk about Marco Andretti, we gotta talk if we're gonna here's the thing. Andretti, I like to split it into 2 categories. The drivers that actually can do something and the drivers that are as far as we're concerned, just field fillers. Rossi and Hunter-Reay fall into the competitive category. Zach Veach and Marco Andretti, they fall into they're just there.
Like, Zach Veach is like,
I don't know. I'm still waiting for Zach Veach to break through.
I give Zach Veach, if Zach Veach performs the same next year, they need to find a new driver.
like Zach Veach.
I need to adjust my chair again.
About some of these things about some of these drivers. Like, we've seen. Remember KVSH technology when Bourdais drove the 11, he was good.
Mhm.
Guess who was his teammate in 2015?
Who?
Stefano Coletti. He was so bad.
He was unbelievably terrible. Stefano Coletti. That's
close to running like where Bourdais was running.
this guy was just incredibly terrible.
Yeah, he was driving the number 4 and he was so bad. That was before the 4 existed for AJ Foyt. Like, some drivers are not good at. I've seen drivers like, who else was not good in IndyCar?
I could name you one, even though he won a race. His name is Carlos Huertas.
How did he get a win?
Rain.
Oh, come on! Like some drivers that
Anybody else hate condensation?
the 19 Santino Ferrucci. Remember when he wrecked and dual won at Detroit, driving the 39 for Dale Coyne in another car? Oh, we're like, holy shit! Top 10. He got a good finish at Detroit. Well,
People are judging him, but I feel like it's time to let him prove himself, and he is.
Remember when he almost remember the big wreck at Indy? He was in the grass. He almost wrecked it somehow, and he saved it. He's impressing me. Santino Ferrucci's not doing that bad compared to what I thought he was going to have more than. I thought he was going to be having a lot of DNFs. He doesn't have that many DNFs compared to what I thought.
He's 12th in the standings, Ferrucci.
But where's Bourdais?
11th.
Bourdais is 11th.
Yeah.
And the funny thing, he did win Road America in 2007, but like I said, that's 12 years ago in a kind of a different sanction version of IndyCar. So
seeing about the about like about other teams, like people still think that Pat O'Ward should, like, Pat O'Ward drove for Andretti when he won the title last year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Veach should get replaced with O'Ward. Award should take over the 26. Like, Award is good, but he's stuck with Carlin, a shitty team.
Well, I mean, he really had nowhere else to go.
Well,
It's either that or don't run IndyCar.
they should have. I think one reason why I think that Veach is still there. He has a sponsor, Gainbridge, is always sponsoring the 20.
Yeah, that's his endorsement.
Yeah, he has Gainbridge sponsoring that car. That's one reason he's still in the 26. Like Zach Veach, he's not been performing what I thought he would do. Like, remember Takuma Sato in that 26 in 2017? Did okay. He got the Indy 500 win and did good. But then Tony didn't. Like, oh, we're going to put Zach Veach. Not much.
I still am a believer in Zach Veach, but I don't entirely understand. I'm just kind of waiting for that moment.
Like, let me go check Zach Veach's stats on Racing
As far as I'm concerned, I think he only has one top 5. Or no, one top 10.
Zach Veach, I think he has like 8 top 10s, I think.
And
In his career.
Hey, 29 starts. 0 wins, 0 podiums, 0 poles, 2 laps led. Average start of 15.6. His Indy Light stats are better. In 44 Indy Light starts, 6 wins, 18 podiums, 6 poles, 293 laps led. Average start 4.8. Average finish of 5.1. He finished 3rd in the standings in 2014. He's good in Indy Lights. That's
Yeah. Yeah,
like,
then
Indy Light stats are better. Like,
What if I tell you that Indy Lights only has like 10 cars on the grid?
no, 2014, he almost won the title. Look, he got 3rd in standings. But 2014 was different. How many cars there were?
all right, let's try to start talking about 'cause
Hey,
we're nearing-
2014.
Yeah, we got to talk about endurance.
Well, 2014 had 8 cars for the title, but 17 total in the whole year.
Yeah, let's try to. How many? What'd you say? 17.
There were 17 cars total. But there was only 8 that ran the whole season. The other 9 just ran part time, and Gabby Chavez did win the 2014 Indy Lights Championship.
Oh, well, you know,
All right, so where are we going to get to? Let's get into endurance racing, and then we'll go into the upcoming weekend.
yeah, let's try to get. We're nearing 2 hours.
Yeah.
All right, so over the weekend, many people, of course, last week paid attention to the 24 hours of Le Mans.
But this weekend we
This-
had
This weekend we are going to walk as good, but what happened in this past weekend needs to be talked about. It's the
Nürburgring.
24 hours of Nürburgring in 2019. This year, unlike the last 2 Nürburgring 24 hours, took place in June.
yeah.
And we'll get into this just now. The winner of the race, we're really just going to talk about the SP9 class. There were 24 classes total, 160 cars entered in the race. But
so many cars.
the number 4 Phoenix, Team Phoenix Racing Audi took the win,
Yeah.
and it was driven by Dries Vanthoor in the end, who was brother, I think the younger brother of Lawrence Vanthoor, another driver.
I think.
Yeah, they're brothers.
Okay.
And they got the win. It came down to pretty much 3 different cars. My pick was the number 29 Land Motorsport Audi that won in 2017. They almost won the Rolex 24 this year. However, they had an incident in that torrential weather.
My pick was the number 1 Manti Racing. They were leading early, got a puncture early in the race.
And they never really recovered either.
Yeah, it's weird. None of our picks won.
Yeah, my pick got a puncture too, and pretty much ended right there. They were in like the middle of the Nordschleife.
We didn't even know that. We didn't expect the Audi, the Phoenix. I remember last week on the podcast where when Joseph, you were talking about Audi Team Phoenix, and then Daniel was like, nah, like nobody went for Audi Team Phoenix.
That's the thing, though. Everyone's looking at Land Motorsport
And like Manti Racing,
Manti Racing and the Porsche. They had the best lineup. They had the drivers that came from Le Mans.
Yeah.
Frederick Makovici, Nick Tandy, Patrick Pile, Richard Leeds.
Yeah, they had those good guys and those
You
good.
can't get any better than that.
But nobody think that the number 4 Audi was gonna win because they're not the best and stuff like that. But
And you know what? AMG, people haven't really talked much about the AMG Mercedes, though. They really made it through. I'll tell you, the race itself, and in the 24 hours of Nürburgring that happened, I'm trying to find a results list.
like we had a spin early in the race.
Yeah, the BMW M6
Yeah, we've had
GT3 had a problem
we
in
had
the event.
we've had wrecks. Like we've had a bad crash also. Like we've had a car on fire. We've had a.
Oh, the Opel Manta, one of the more fan favorite cars.
And remember when we had the big crash?
Oh, on the straightaway.
Oh.
It was I think his name was Santino Falcon or
Yeah.
Santon.
Yeah.
I can't. Santiago Falcon, I think was his name.
But what car? What,
He was in one of the Porsche Caymans, plowed into a stalled car. It reminded me big time of the Mimo Gidley incident,
I
the 2014 Rolex 24 Daytona.
I remember that one from 24. Like that was
Just some scary stuff.
Oh, it was like when
And I thought he was hurt, and I'm not so sure about the reports, but they do say that he should be okay. Hopefully that's the case.
yeah,
But
because we don't want to deal with something that
I mean, it was just horrific, and I feel like
but one of the last times we've seen something happen in motorsports that was bad, we had Rossi's crash at Pocono. We've had Alan Simonson 2013 Le Mans crash. We've had different incidents, like including Justin Wilson's accident, Jules Bianchi's accident too. And, like we've seen, like what happened to Jules Bianchi. He drove. He was. There was a car. There was a trip. His car. There was wrecked car getting picked up by the crane, but then the weather was so bad in Suzuka, in Japan, and the stewards didn't do too well there. So he slid back of the crane and got injured and sadly passed away in 2015.
You guys hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, I hear you good.
All right, so I guess my browser went out. I apologize for that.
About those wrecks, like we seen it happen in motorsport. Like we've during the like we've seen 2013 Le Mans race at Pocono twice. We have bad incidents there, and Jules Bianchi's crash at Suzuka.
yeah, Jules Bianchi. It was one of those cases where like
I don't know. The steward should have
that was just a terrible call, in my opinion.
yeah.
The Jules Bianchi situation
There was
just awful.
you saw what the conditions were not
The
good.
conditions were just terrible.
He slid into a trailer that was picking up one of the cars, the wrecked cars, and sadly,
Yeah, he had a crane.
2015.
And just unluckily, it just took his life. And
The last driver I've seen in motorsports recently that I remember Justin Wilson 2015. Couple
Justin
days,
Wilson crashed the. I feel like that was more of a
but that
more
debris.
just a freak
Yes.
incident. And
But it's weird. The debris hit. I could tell that wrong.
by the way,
you seen-
if my camera's not on, the reason is I had to. I guess I'm gonna reset my browser.
About the problem. About Justin Wilson. After he got hit by the debris from St. Jerome, I've noticed the car was out.
That was just scary. Like it was.
When I saw
watched
that,
it
I'm like,
live.
but I didn't.
I was at a hockey rink. I was about to go to a stick and puck session with my friend,
Yeah.
and
so we were like, of course, watching the IndyCar race from the screen, and then that happened. Like everybody was like horrified because
But
not that many racing fans in the world.
I remember every day I was looking at like thinking about I was looking about if there was more information about Justin Wilson, and then one day I checked and it literally said about that he passed away.
I saw it actually on the ESPN
Oh, yeah.
bottom line. I was eating lunch or dinner.
I
It was
remember
like one of the first few days of school that year. It's my junior year.
I remember Hunter made a video about it because he was watching ESPN. He was watching Sports Center at the same time, and he filmed it. Like, heard about that.
You wouldn't wish that on anyone, but like, what happened in the Nürburgring 24 hours this year was like synonymous to that incident.
Like those.
You wish it on nobody. You really do.
Like I wonder, like about the. Like I wonder how like safe those cars are. That's my question. Are they like NASCAR stock cars with roll cages?
Hold on, I'm trying to. My phone on speaker.
Like about about NASCAR stock cars. They have a roll cage. I don't. Do the cars in Nürburgring have a roll?
Listen, I'm sure they do it. I mean, it's not hard to put a roll cage in a race car.
Like a roll cage. Like the roll cage has protected more drivers. But the last time something happened in 2001, and then
Well, the roll cages was there. The thing though is the roll cage,
but also
and it's funny when I say it, but it's supposed to be the barrier from the body of the car, from like the outside of the car, to the driver in the cockpit area. It's supposed to be that protective guard. And sometimes there are incidents that challenge the roll cage or any other safety features of a race car.
like
I'll give you an example. Kyle Busch had his crash in 2015.
but he did hit a concrete wall.
Yeah, a concrete wall.
And
And
about like stuff like that. It's also when about Dale. Do you want to one he had the skull fracture? He had no Hans device.
yeah, no Hans device. And Hans
That's the
devices were
problem.
still not popular at the time.
Guess who was one of the drivers that wore a Hans device? Dale Jarrett wore a Hans device.
Listen, when there's a new feature that comes out, remember how everybody talked about how ugly the Halo device looks and how it's going to get in your way?
But
know,
you
and
saw,
when it was announced in
what happened at
2018
Spa.
for Formula One.
Remember at Spa? When Alonso was in the air?
Yeah, when someone went over Leclerc.
It was Alonso.
Yeah, his
And-
wheel. I mean, the Halo device was the one piece
That helped.
of barrier
Oh,
separating the head of Charles Leclerc,
yeah.
that area, and
The wheel of
the
the
wheel.
14.
that
Yeah.
was probably the first instance of the Halo device
Like,
put to use.
yeah, I'm glad that F1 did that because they probably saw what happened about debris. Someone like Justin Wilson got hit by
Here's the
debris,
thing though about Justin Wilson, and it's
But-
pretty sad.
but
but, like,
debris.
There was nothing wrong with the racing or the car that took
Like,
place
It was
when Justin Wilson death happened. When I don't want to call it a crash, I would rather call it an incident when the incident happened, because there was nothing really that was crash-like,
but like
compared to like Dan Weldon or even Greg Moore. But here's
like
what I gotta say: it was more of an incident. The piece of debris random just appeared like a torpedo heading into it was just terrible. But like,
but what do you think? Like, guess what the debris was?
what?
You know the pods on the back of the car?
Yes.
The thing that landed on his head. That's the rear of the the right rear pod was flying in the air, off
It's-
from car
You know, Justin,
on his head.
I have to tell you, as a race fan, nobody wants to wish,
Yeah.
tragedy on anyone. But I think we can all recall some of the terrible moments that we've witnessed as race fans.
Yeah.
Like, personally, I saw Dan Mullins crash as it happened on TV.
Oh yeah.
That it's just an image you'll never forget. My old house had our living room was kind of interesting. We had 2 TVs,
Yeah.
and 1 cable box. So whatever you put with the channel in the cable box, it's all on that TV station. Whether it's the left TV where I had my original Xbox plugged in, which I was just playing NASCAR Heat 2002, just enjoying myself. I
Yeah.
remember I was 12,
Yeah.
turning 13 that year,
Yeah.
and just doing my thing. And we came the IndyCar race on. I wasn't too big in IndyCar that much just yet. So of course I knew the championship, and so I had the race on. And then this wreck happens. I'm like,
Yeah.
everything froze.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the fuck is this? I excuse my language.
Yeah.
For all the kids out there, but like, it's just that it was, it was intimate in the wrong way. It's like, what the hell? Is this something I want to be a fan of? You ever come to that point where you question, is this what I really put my time and interpret, or not, but put my input every time, my energy as a fan? Is this what we want for our entertainment? And that was just as bad as it could be. And then 2 years later, the 24 hours of Le Mans.
Yeah. Alan.
Less than 10 minutes in the race.
Yep.
Alan Simonson. And I
Oh,
think
that
it
was
6 years ago.
Yeah.
Alan Simonson. I just saw an Aston Martin crash. And I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, that must suck. And there were original reports saying that he's all right talking to medics.
But
And
then
then
at the hospital,
sad stuff.
like, I remember when they announced it. They did. I remember when they did announce it.
Like, my heart sunk,
Like,
It's something you just don't wish on anyone.
yeah.
Especially because, and it's still, I still feel unjust about the Alan Simonson crash, because we go back 2 years ago from that event in 2011. You had 2 of the most horrifying looking crashes. Alec McNish, the lead Audi driver, like less than an hour in the race,
Yeah.
comes down into a slower GT traffic, and you got to remember, the 2011 ACO rules were different, so the LMP1 cars had a downgrade. Passing by GT cars wasn't the same. You couldn't just whiz through them anymore.
Yeah.
You had to. It was like an extra split second. And I think that's the reason why the crash happened. He thought he was clear of the Ferrari, wasn't. And when I saw that, because I saw that race live, I'm like, oh my fucking gosh. Excuse my language again, but like
some of those things happen, like something that, like.
Oh, and also Mike Rockefeller. I want to talk about Rockefeller too.
Yeah.
When Rockefeller had his crash, this was in like the middle of the night, and it was down the Indianapolis corners in one of the kinks.
Yeah.
And in the dark, and literally there's just a report of a safety car. A car literally is not to be found. It hits the trees, and it turns out to be one of the Audis. I'm like, holy crap. It happened again. And I'm like, I just hope he's okay. And luckily, Rocky's all right. He's still racing. Now he drives for Corvette.
Yeah.
But yeah, so 2012 also happened. And I think we remember what happened with Anthony Davidson and that Ferrari.
Yeah.
And when Davidson ended up in the hospital, he had, I think, a back surgery because the way the car landed and plowed in the wall.
Yeah.
that's what made the death of Alan Simonson. It's just like it's so hard to understand. Even though we did find out that his car hit a tree, and of course, Aston.
Also, there's not just three he hit. He also hit guardrail too.
Yeah, and in Aston Martin's on the right side. The British car driver's seat is on the right.
Yeah. Like I've seen more different. Like some corners have a tire barrier that I don't know if that would have made a difference if there was a tire barrier over the guardrail would have been maybe better. Like I don't know.
Okay, I just want to say about dude just put in the comments Rockefeller's crash was like a 110 G's apparently.
Well,
And McNish's crash, the spectators were so lucky. Yes, and especially the people working the cameras.
yeah.
And all the way the debris was flying, it was like, oh
Yeah.
my goodness. And that tire, you saw the tire bounce over the camera guy who literally just dropped to the ground like the place got nuked.
Like something about the like about some of these wrecks. Like I remember. Oh, I 2015 Mid-Ohio. Do you want to know what happened? Grace?
What happened?
Remember 90 car somehow went up the tire into
Oh, you think about Road America that one time?
No, it's not Road America, Mid-Ohio.
There was a case in Road America where a car left the track in a Grand Am race.
Oh wow.
It was a Chevy Camaro. It literally hit the tires and went over the wall.
But
I still gotta see that Mid-Ohio crash though.
But do you know what sucks about the 90s cars crash? We don't know what happened. There's no replay because it was in turn one. The car was on top of the tire barrier into the fence.
Oh, are you talking about the NASCAR Xfinity?
Yeah,
race in
Matt Bell
2017?
car in 2017 was on top of
Matt
the.
Bell.
I don't even know how he ended up on top of the wall. It's still unknown. Like some of these wrecks we've seen are really like.
Here's what I'll say, and to reiterate your statement, Justin. These big crashes, they happen, and I know we were off topic. We were in the middle of talking about the Nürburgring 24 hours, and I guess my computer wanted to say, "Screw you, Joseph. It's my turn now," and like disconnect and be weird. So he ended up talking about tragedies in racing. But I honestly thought in the Nürburgring 24 hours with that crash in the final backstretch, nearing the darkness, and here's one thing I gotta criticize the ADAC on: the medical cars. And the rules for driving past them need to change.
Yeah. It does.
It's scary how it was one of the Porsches got loose and went around a medical car, one of the Opel SUVs. There were Chevy Equinoxes down here. Or no, Chevy Traverses. One or the other. Actually, Equinox. I gotta go with my gut. But those Opel SUVs just driving around there pulling stranded cars out in these local yellows. The indication of where to slow down is not as discreet, to be honest. And I feel like there's a gray area that needs to be taken care of before someone else gets hurt. I don't want to see anyone get hurt out there, and that happened twice in the race, actually multiple times. And it's funny because we were about to go into controversy. The Porsche Formanti Racing, the 911 car, had a 5-minute, 42-second penalty for disobeying, what's it called? Slow zones or yellow flags?
I think it was a slow zone.
Well, there's different kinds of yellow flags in the 24 hours of Nürburgring. There's no sole safety car. It's impossible for a track like that.
Yeah, because it's 25 on.
The only time that a safety car will
65.
lead a pack in the Nürburgring 24 hours is when there's a red flag.
Yeah. Like some of these things.
I know we gotta get back into this because we are kind of running.
We were
out of time.
talking about IndyCar.
Yeah.
No,
We have to finish on the
No, we got
because
Nürburgring.
we do gotta talk about Chicagoland.
Like,
I know.
like Nürburgring, like
Yeah, but here's what happened though. The Phoenix Audi got the win.
yeah.
The
911 got second.
911 Porsche got second, and the Black Falcon Mercedes got third.
Yeah.
Was it the 16?
16 on Black Falcon. That was a Get Speed car.
Get Speed car. They got third.
Yeah, Get Speed number 16. Like,
That was Ranger Vander Zandy,
yeah,
Christian Vautier, and Dominic Bobbin.
yeah. Like,
Those guys are all going to be at Watkins Glen this weekend.
yep.
And let me talk about the IMSA stats. I have notes taken on that as well. In fact, it's on the first page here. I got it right in hand. This is the first IMSA race since Belle Isle last month,
Yeah. Not
or actually early June.
Yeah,
technically,
June.
late May, early June, that time of the year.
June 1st. Yeah.
As for GTLM and LP2 cars, this will be their first race since Mid-Ohio.
Yep. There's only 2 LMP2s.
Right, even though there's I would like to see an increase in the LP2s, but they're of course separated as a result of the horsepower change and
Yeah.
regulations that changed in DPIs to make them a sole class now. So LP2s have to go their own ways.
Like also, like
Let me continue. Sorry, Justin. As for DPIs, the championship standings, you have the Whelen Engineering Cadillac, number 31. 5 points over both the Penske cars. The number 6 car, the Dan Cameron Juan Montoya car, and then the other ones, Elio Castroneves and what's his
Ricky.
name? Ricky Taylor.
Yeah.
As for GTLM class, the number 912 Porsche has a 7-point advantage in the team championship over the number 3 Corvette for Corvette Racing.
Yeah.
In GTD class, you have the number 86 Meyer Shank Acura NSX GT3 car with a 4-point advantage over the number 12 Ambassador Lexus RCF GT3. And 12 points, yeah. And a few points back is in third in the standings is the number 14 Lexus.
Yeah.
Okay. I think I've listed everything about Watkins Glen this weekend. 6 hours of the Glen starts Sunday at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. It's the 55 hours, right?
The 54.
54 hours of racing in the last 3 weeks.
Like,
Endurance racing has been big.
yep.
And
I wonder,
oh, go on.
is the 10 gonna do something like get a good finish? The 10. The Wayne Taylor Cadillac. They've not been the best since finishing second at Sebring. Since Sebring, they've not been doing.
Here's the question: will Randy Van Der get exhausted
Well, yes,
after running back-to-back 24-hour races?
I think, but we have the problem is Jordan Taylor is the. For some reason, I feel like I don't know. Like for some reason, I do realize. Guess who qualifies the 10?
Who?
Always Ranger Van Der Zandt who qualifies that 10
But he has speed. Did you not see how he qualified the car at Nürburgring? How he can weave through traffic. This guy is unreal.
But the problem,
I think he also qualified the car at Le Mans for Dragon Speed.
yeah, but like in IMSA, he doesn't qualify really well. He qualifies like 7th.
But also the competition's risen.
But it's like,
When there's someone like Juan Montoya
well,
out there.
2017. Well, 2017. The
Well,
2017.
you gotta remember 2017. Sorry to interrupt you, Justin, but 2017 was the first year of the DPI car in general. and they were the
Well-
first to get a grip on it.
But how they always qualified well and run.
They
well.
also had Ricky Taylor.
Yeah, that's true. But
And am I missing anyone?
they had Alex and that
I was
ran.
thinking Max Angelelli, but he didn't drive for them.
No, he did at Daytona,
2018
2017.
or 2017?
He
Yeah,
drove.
with Jeff Gordon.
Yeah, and Jeff Gordon ran Daytona. Like, and Alexander Lynn drove at Sebring. That was the second race of the season, but like last year, the 10 only won one race, the final race of the season. That 10 car went winless the whole season until Road Atlanta last year. That's when the 10 picked up.
And I must say though that there is it's endurance racing. There's nothing simple about it. That's what the beauty of this kind of competition is. You don't know what's coming until that clock hits 0000.
Like, I would like I remember 2017. Remember early in the race at the start, the 10 hit the wall, broke the suspension.
Mhm.
Like, I want to see something. I want them to
And
get.
that's another thing too. And we have to talk about the upcoming races before we go off air. But let's talk about the what's it called? All right, Chicagoland is this weekend.
Yep.
So let's talk about Chicago
We have.
and what's coming up for
there.
Xfinity Series. I've written some notes on this as
Well,
well.
we have 4 races there: ARCA, Truck, Xfinity, and Cup.
Hell yeah.
Okay, so here's what I have for my notes taken on the Xfinity Series, and we'll get into Austria.
Well, we don't even know who's in the 18th yet.
Okay, so here's what I got from the Xfinity, and they talk about the big 3. I took some notes on the big 3 as well. And for this event, it's round 15 of 33. Last race was Iowa, won by Christopher Bell. Last year's winner was Kyle Larson, not entered in the race. 2019 is known for the big 3 in the NASCAR Xfinity Series. You have, as of 14 races, I've written some stats from Tyler Reddick, last year's champion, versus Christopher Bell, versus Cole Custer. 3 of the 4 final 4 drivers on this list.
Well, there's a problem right there with them. You also have don't know if there's a Cup driver in the field.
But let's talk about the stats anyways, because I have them written down. Tyler Reddick, on his side, 3 wins, 11 top 5s, 12 top 10s, 2 poles. He led 321 laps so far as of these 14 races. Average start 4.7, average finish 4.7. 2018 champion and the 2019 current points leader.
What? Yeah, later.
But this is where I get off like from this guy. This is where like I'm stricken to here. His average start and average finish equal the same, 4.7.
Wow.
How better can that be?
Well,
2 races outside the top 10, 3 races outside the top 5.
well,
Exactly.
not just that. Never know if there could be a Cup driver in there.
Even then,
Well,
the
Kyle
stats
Busch,
aren't anywhere
4-star.
different. Let's talk about Christopher Bell. Because I
That's the
wrote
problem.
these down.
Well, he had 3 wins. His average 4.5. Average finish 1.2.
Okay, so here's Christopher Bell. Christopher Bell has 4 wins, 8 top 5s, 9 top 10s, 3 poles, leads 760 laps. Average start is 3.9. Average finish is 9.1. 2018 finished 4th in the standings and currently sits 2nd in points.
Like the problem is, like, sometimes
Speak louder, bud.
there's also sometimes about like some drivers that we don't know that's entered. Like so far, the only one entry no is Jeffrey. Jeffrey 81.
Yeah.
But we don't. But no, 2018 could be Kyle Busch.
Okay. Also, let's talk about Cole Custer for a moment. We're seeing an uprising in the sky. 2019, he has 3 wins, 8 top 5s, 9 top 10s, 4 poles, led so far 543 laps in the last 14 completed races. His average start is 5.9 and average finish is a 10.2. His 2018 standings puts him in second, and he currently sits third in points. Yeah, I mean these are stats that people who go on Racing Reference marvel over. This is like Niki Lauda and James Hunt versus a third driver coming in to disrupt the two parties. I gotta ask you guys, who's the third man in, or the fourth man in, if there is one?
I'm gonna go on a limb and say Chase Briscoe.
Briscoe. For me, it's Briscoe or Allgaier.
Think about this. Briscoe's more top 10s than Custer and Bell.
It's true.
I usually fall for Justin Allgaier on this question.
But how many top 10s is all? Let me go check Allgaier. I'll check Allgaier.
Not Justin. Joseph, is that you echoing?
Is that me echoing?
I don't know. I just know there's an echo. Yep, it's you.
Oh boy, am I committing a crime?
Oh,
That's probably just your mic.
wait. Allgaier has 8 top 10s. Allgaier has 8 top 10s. Yeah,
That's not bad.
8. Let me check Briscoe.
6 top 5s, 11 top 10s.
Yeah, Briscoe has more top 10s than Allgaier.
And Bell. And Custer.
What about Reddick?
Reddick has 12.
Oh God, didn't expect that, but okay.
That's what makes Tyler Reddick who he is this year.
Well, people still think he doesn't deserve his ride.
He does.
He
Well,
deserves his ride.
This
His
guy
title is another
deserves
story.
every single bit of his ride. There's no question about it.
well, people still mock him of last year title.
And it's
People mock-
understandable. But here's what I'm going to tell you. Tyler Reddick's proving himself to be legitimate from last year. And you know what? He's driving for Richard Childress Racing. These guys aren't the greatest in the Xfinity Series in the last few years. So I'll give him credit when credit's due. They got to keep it up, and hopefully he goes into a cup ride someday for a good team. For Chicagoland, let's talk about F1 in Austria before we head on out, because I do have some stats. Lots of them.
Why did we just talk about Xfinity? We still have trucks, ARCA, and
Oh yeah, trucks. But that's because Xfinity was off the last week.
well, we still have to talk about the other series too.
The truck series last year was Brett Moffitt, and if you remember last year, Brett Moffitt's team was in despair with sponsorship. They made an announcement questioning early on that same week whether they would even stay the full year or not.
My question is how it was different than when Ryan Truex was there. There was no problems with sponsorship.
Listen, they had the same problems too. But here's the thing, this is Hattori Racing, you know.
Oh, Austin Hill. They don't have problems with Austin Hill.
Austin Hill's got some better fundings, I'm pretty sure.
Well,
But
he only has one sponsor.
Trucks, who do you think is going to win in Chicagoland?
I don't. It depends who's entered. I know Kyle's not entered because he can't
But
race.
let's just get an answer, and so we can move on.
Well, the problem is I don't know who's entered.
What about
Like-
the regulars?
Like the regulars, I don't know if they'll win. It depends if there's somebody that's like secret, like
Okay, Justin, just give me an answer. Who's winning the race?
I don't know. I see a practice, but it sucks that practice are all on Thursday. I'll say
Okay, but
We
we
just-
gotta get someone in. I'll just say Brett Moffitt's going to go back in Chicagoland.
I think Brandon Jones is the 51. He'll win. Brandon Jones.
If he's in the 51, he'll win. Okay,
Yeah.
move on.
Just
Ronnie,
as
who
on
do you
some
have?
drugs.
You never know.
Let's hear Armani's.
Grant Enfinger. I'm picking for the third week in a row.
He's on the Grant train.
For Arca,
I'm just gonna go with the Sinclair boy himself, Michael Self.
for me, Christian Eckes.
I'll go with Christian Eckes too.
I might regret picking Michael Self. Who knows? Cup Series at Chicagoland. Last year we had a thriller of a finish. The battle between two of the best Kyles behind the wheels in the United States. And probably in the entire world. Went at it towards the end. Kyle Busch and Kyle Larson. That finish is an instant classic with Dale Jr.'s quotes in the background as a first-time commentator.
Yep.
But my goodness, Kyle was taking the win on that one over Larson. Who wins at Chicagoland and why?
For some reason, for me, oh no. For me, for some reason, I think Alex Bowman. Last time we went to, Kansas is similar. Alex Bowman almost won Kansas. He was really close and went 65 laps at Kansas. And Kansas, similar track. They both opened in 2001.
Yeah,
with
Alex
the same
Bowman,
pavement.
what he did at Kansas was very impressive.
Like he has a shot.
He could go to Chicago and really
Yeah.
do something the same way.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Alex Bowman. I'm with you, man. Bowman's winning this race.
I'm going to go with Chase Elliott. And I'll give you an interesting stat on Kansas. I think Elliott led more laps. So that's really the only reason I'm picking Elliott
And
over
he
Bowman.
won at Kansas last year. Kansas is a very similar track to Chicagoland in many ways.
But also,
It's like Las
Hey.
Vegas.
but like Kansas, Chicago, they both opened in 2001. They've opened the same year. The pavement's the same.
Right. Okay, so now we're done with talking about Chicagoland. Let's talk about Formula One this weekend for the Austrian Grand Prix. It's round 9 of 21. If you were on earlier in the podcast, we talked about the French Grand Prix from the Circuit de Paul Richard. So we are going to I think it's still called the Red Bull Ring in Spielberg, Austria.
Yeah.
And currently, here are the last winners from the last 5 races since 2014 in their return event. We had Max Verstappen. Both Mercedes blew up that race. Valtteri Bottas won 2 years ago. Lewis Hamilton, Nico Rosberg. And as for further stats at the Austrian Grand Prix, the most wins is Alain Prost with 3. 1983, 1985, and 1986. 5 drivers have won twice. Ronnie Peterson, Alan Jones, Mika Hakkinen, Michael Schumacher, and Nico Rosberg. And as for the current constructors in this season, 3 of which has found victory in the top step of the podium in Austria.
Take a wild guess.
Mercedes has 7, Ferrari has 5, and Renault has 3. So there are your stats. And I got some more stuff to tell you about F1, the constructors standings. As of the last 8 races, or as of the most recent race, Mercedes leading. They are walking away with this 338 points over Ferrari. 338 points. That's what they gained. Ferrari's second, literally 200 points behind, and 198.
Holy crap.
Yeah, 200. You heard that right. They are walking away with the constructors.
Yeah.
Red Bull is third with 137 points claimed to their name. McLaren has 40. Renault has 32. Racing Point with 19. Alfa Romeo as well with 19. Thanks to Kimi, I'm sure.
And
Toro Rosso with 17. Haas with 16. And Williams with a big fat 0.
Nothing.
I had to say that.
Well,
Justin, this is where you come in with your zeros.
oh my goodness. Like Williams, oh, they're so bad.
Here, I can tell you what Justin will say for Williams. Williams 2019, nothing, 0, 0, 0, 0, 6.
Yeah, it's basically
Zero,
that.
zero.
Yeah, that's basically Williams. Like,
All right, my pick for Austria, Lewis Hamilton, because I lost faith in this season.
I'm gonna go with Lewis Hamilton. This guy's gonna get his 7th win in 9 races.
Free Lewis Hamilton. He'll
We're
get,
on the Lewis train, boys.
and also Lewis Hamilton. That'll mean he'll get his 80th career win.
Yes, that big 80 is coming up.
He's so far he's 20 behind Mike Schumacher to tie him. Because
How much till he reaches Schumacher?
Schumacher has 91.
So that's only.
Woo.
When do you think Hamilton will reach 91? It's
I
not
think-
if, it's when.
Not this year, but I think next year possibly in
Oh, really?
2020. If he keeps up this pace, and next year he's the same strong season, he could catch up to
You
91.
know, dude, that I think Lewis Hamilton, and I said this before, he needs to race the 24 hours of Le Mans. That's something Schumacher's never done.
Yeah,
And I want to see him race endurance someday. We've seen
yeah,
Lewis Hamilton and his amazing talents in Formula One,
Yeah.
but we never seen him elsewhere.
yeah. Like, also I heard about the, you know what? At France, that Hamilton was complaining about his seat was not right. People say, "Oh, his seat's gonna affect him." His seat was not even well put right.
That's a little malfunction that
Yeah,
he
but
perseveres through many times. I think that's the thing about Lewis Hamilton is that
Yeah.
we usually you say, okay, this is gonna bother him this time. Remember his incident
Yeah.
in practice?
yeah,
It was an FP2.
yeah,
He just got off track, recovers, has one, takes the win. And yes, you could say what you want about Mercedes. They are just spot on this year.
yeah.
Perfect on the top step of the podium.
Like,
And for Lewis himself, not one race has gone without him on the podium.
yeah, like. You also seen about Lewis Hamilton. He had a bad. His seat was not well put in his car. He was still getting fast laps,
Yeah, even though the fastest lap came to Sebastian Vettel.
but
Hamilton-
most of the race was Hamilton with the fastest lap. You've seen how fast Hamilton was.
Yes, that's right. Okay, I think we've wrapped everything up about Formula One
Yeah.
this weekend. That it'll be round 9 of 21.
we
IndyCar
also-
doesn't return till Toronto on July 14th.
And we
NASCAR
also
has racing this weekend as well as ARCA. The
And-
Nürburgring 24 Hours was a thriller.
we got
um,
the. Oh,
Enzo's back.
the
Final thoughts, guys.
some reason. I feel for some reason somehow Wayne actually win for some reason. I feel like Wayne Taylor will
Wayne
win.
Taylor might pull through. This is Watkins
Yeah.
Glen.
They're good at.
It's
They're
an
good.
easy track to remember. With
Yeah.
you really run a rhythm at Watkins Glen.
Yeah.
You know where the turns are. You know where to brake.
Yeah.
It's the little things. I
Yeah.
think they'll pull through and win. I'm
Yeah.
with you, man. Wayne Taylor for the win.
Yeah.
All right, Armani, back to you.
Penske. I'm picking the Penske number 7 because Elio.
Okay.
All right, gracias.
All right, I think that's everything.
Yep.
All right, so anyone else got anything you want to say?
Please check out my Twitter at YT NASCAR and check out my YouTube channel at NASCAR88.
Joseph, anything?
Subscribe to Justin, NASCAR 88.
Yeah.
All right, so that's this episode of the Bloody Alarm podcast. Thank you everyone for joining. And yeah, that's really all I have to say. So we'll see you then.